Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's episode of the Pantheon Podcast, the weekly show where we talk about Smite and everything related to it. This week, we have me, Dark Eye 3, your host, AJ, on production. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, and you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Nice to have another show this week. We also have the lovely Sushi rocking a dig top by the looks of it.
A hoodie.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Because I'm cool. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I decided to wear my hoodie in, how do you say it? Like, to honor our guest we have today.
Yeah?
In honor of our guest.
In honor of our
English
guest,
is hard.
that's the one.
English is hard.
English is a very hard language. Even those of us who speak it on a day-to-day basis don't know how to use it. And speaking of that, we do have our guest this week, the coach for Dignitas. It is the one, the only DekuScrub. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Nice to be on the podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, for those people who aren't aware, what is it that you do? What's the life like in the day of the coach?
As a coach, so I guess the first thing I'm generally doing before scrims, we always have a talk about what we want to practice, what we're doing. I give them ideas. Then I'll go into pick and bans with them. For scrims, I'll be doing the pick and bans generally, or helping them with the pick and bans. Depends how we're feeling. And then taking notes during the game, giving them feedback at the end, that kind of stuff. Kind of a rinse repeat, preparing for the big SPL games and the LAN, obviously.
Just making sure your team's ready to do their thing. You're keeping track of exactly what it is to throw. Keeping track of exactly what your team's doing, ready to throw the game.
Yeah.
Oh my! Yeah, I don't know how to react to that. Mind you, you know. Okay, so for that is our lovely guest this week. That is DekuScrub. So this week we have a few things to go through. We have a huge chunk on esports news yet again, but that's because AJ loves filling in these notes for us every week. We will start off with the patch notes. There's not a very big patch this week, but we have a few things. The last balance change that we will be experiencing before Worlds. Then we've got the Super Regionals Roundup. What happened last week was some big mix-ups, some big games. Some of them really good games that are amazing. We've got some, then followed up by the esports news. You know, the standard foray we have every week. Then God discussion. This week is the flex pick Sobek, solo Beck, support Beck. So
Usually solo Beck.
Best Beck.
Yes. Unless your name's Jeff Hindler, then you'll then to support back.
Solo Beck, best
or
Beck.
Ionic.
Oh yeah.
To be fair.
Those two are just so big when it comes to any support you want to play.
Yeah, they are.
Then we will be discussing what's coming up in the community, including the So You Think You Can Cast results, which me and AJ totally aren't bitter about, especially Sushi as well, actually, considering.
I'm gonna go try.
You're gonna go. And then we apparently have an announcement for AJ as well, so there's that to look forward to. And then we will have our Q&A with our lovely guest, although I think most of the questions revolve around his eyebrows at this point in time.
Please no.
Don't worry, we'll avoid the eyebrow questions. We do have a couple of serious ones there as well.
Not many, there are more eyebrow questions though.
There's a lot of eyebrow questions.
There is a lot of eyebrow questions. So, to start us off then, let's go through this week's patch notes. AJ, would you like to take us through?
Okay, I'm just loading them up already, and as you can see, it's the Demons and Demons patch notes. I'm going to be posting them in chat in just a second. Coming along with this patch is a lot of new skins, including the final skin for the Odyssey. Not the big reward, we've already spoiled that, but it's going to be the Capri Robo skin. We're going to be talking about that in a bit, as well as some achievements. Clash is no longer going to be there, some miscellaneous, and then some God changes, the final round of balancing before the World Championships in January. So, when you take us through the first cards, it's going to be the Demon Soul and Eben Soul Circuit skin. You get as part of a bundle.
It's a great... Those skins are awesome. But it's very much boob, though.
Too much.
There's a lot of boob.
Sorry, but too much.
There's so much boob on shows. Like, what the hell?
It's like Diablo plus boob makes the cat skins.
It's the booblo.
Oh god.
That's actually probably what they were thinking.
They do look pretty cool, though.
Yeah, for those of you wondering, the more purpley looking pink skin, that's going to be the Ibn Soul one, which is only available during the promotion they're doing, or where you can buy the bundle for both the skins. Similar to the football Shibbolonke skins, some of them aren't available anymore. Same thing with this purple pink Ibn Soul skin.
There you go.
And I don't know about you, but I'm still going to be using the Steampunk Circuit.
Steampunk Circuit is really good.
That skin is really good.
Although we still need more Steampunk skins. Like, whatever happened to Steampunk Vulcan? I miss him.
It should be a thing.
Yeah, Steampunk Vulcan needs to be done. Although, one of the community posts that... It's one of the highest upvoted posts on Reddit Smite's history, and I want to see it. It's Titan Hell.
Yes!
That looks really cool. Like, someone designed that, and it just looks amazing. It's a really cool idea.
I want it.
Are we ever going to get it? Probably not.
Maybe. Who knows?
You never know.
If it gets upvoted enough... Oh wait, it's the second highest Reddit post already. Maybe if it gets to first, who knows?
You never know. Give it time.
Then give it time.
It may happen.
So one of the other skins dropping in this patch is going to be the Diva Aphrodite card, and I'm not too sure about this skin. It looked okay in the patch notes. I don't think I'm going to be using it though.
What, Lady Gaga Aphrodite?
Yeah.
I still don't get why some of her lines were from Taylor Swift though. If she's
Yes,
Lady
exactly.
Gaga, why is she quoting Taylor Swift?
The fact you know Taylor Swift lyrics and you're a male makes me question you.
Well, you know, they play Taylor Swift a lot on Radio 1.
The fact you listen to Radio 1 in the UK.
Well. Oh, shots have been fired, man. Jeez.
Oof.
Well, mind you, Radio 1 does play like the same 6 songs over and over all day.
Yeah.
It's like you tune in. Oh, it must be 10 o'clock for playing that song.
Now that you've listened to the sweet tunes of this one popular pop song, we're going to play that one popular pop song again, just for you.
And again,
stick around.
Again. It's like it's worse than local radio, because at least on local radio they have like 20 songs they switch through, but Radio 1 just has 6. Anyway,
I don't really listen to radio that much. I just listen to music whilst playing video games.
Best way for it. Spotify, man.
Yeah. Also, being spoiled in this is the Week 13 Odyssey available to purchase item. It's going to be Robo Kepri skin, and it looks amazing.
Can we skip the next couple weeks and actually get it now?
This is Frezzy Kepri.
It looks so good.
This is Frezzy Kepri, boys.
Frezzy Kepri.
They did this to, commemorate Frezzy's amazing Kepri performance at Super Regionals. I think he went 1-4 in games. I think, really, really good, to be honest.
Oh, how many assists did he get though?
I don't know. He missed a few ultis. But
How many lives did he save?
Yeah, man. That's what you got to worry about with Kepri.
I'll get a montage. Gotta get a Frezzy montage going.
Frezzy montage.
To be fair, the skin looks awesome though.
It does look really cool. The sound, the voice pack as well is pretty cool.
I do like the and I don't know what you call it, the juxtaposition of the different voice packs. Because the regular Kepri one is soothing. It's like, I am there, I'm going to protect you, I'm going to heal you, stand behind me. Whilst Robo Kepri is, I'm going to murder your face. Come here.
I don't care if you die or not, I'm just going to save you because I need to protect myself.
I am the Hugbug, bitch.
I'm the Hugbug, bring it.
The skin looks like I don't know. The skin looks like a Terminator, and then it's Kepri, and you realise he does 32 damage a hit. It's gonna be pretty awkward to use the skin and deal -5 damage. But
it just looks like it's gonna be something that's gonna rip your face off, and then it's actually Kepri. Especially considering he gets nerfed today, or gets nerfed in this patch.
Yeah, we will be talking about that later. Considering he's gone through quite a few nerfs.
What is it they do? They always introduce an amazing change to a god, and then they go, "Hey, here's the change. Here's this awesome skin for him," and nerf. Happened with Athena last time. Hey, check out this new diamond skin card, and she's getting nerfed, by the way, guys.
It's the Hi-Rez way of doing things. Either someone's really OP and they get nerfed into the ground, or they're underpowered and they get brought up.
Yeah, pretty much.
But not too much, though. I mean, look at Robin.
He's apparently getting something done to him.
All right, okay.
It's gonna be his ult. We know it.
Yeah.
They're gonna remove him from the game most likely. He's already basically removed from the game.
Oh yeah, you never see him.
I haven't seen him in 6 months.
Wasn't he played once at the Super Regionals?
Yes,
Yeah,
he was played in the 5th, 6th game.
Pern, my boy Pern, representing Ravana's all over the world.
Shoutouts to Pern.
Shout outs to Panicus.
Shout out to Burn Boys.
Burn Boys.
Alright. Also being revealed in this patch is going to be the Father Time Chrono skin. He's finally got a good skin, guys. Rejoice.
I don't know.
Well, it's better than the Super Chrono 64. Let's be honest.
Nah, Super Chrono 64's voice pack just makes that skin.
No.
Wow.
I don't like that skin too much. I don't feel strongly about skins usually, but there's a couple I really don't like. the Torment Bellona being one. I just don't like that skin. And the Chrono 64. No.
You don't like Torment Bellona?
No, I
What's
hate
wrong-
the voice pack.
I love that voice pack. Mind you, like we've got 2 different camps as well with that foreskin, haven't we? Like I just realised what I said.
Ignoring that.
I think the new skin for 4 is great. Other people hate it. I'm not sure why. It's like Mecha Anime 4, like Gundam 4. It's great.
I can't wait to use that skin because the selling point for me on that skin is its custom soundtrack that it's getting.
Oh yeah.
It was spoiled on YouTube before it was actually meant to be shown or even talked about, which was done in this patch. And the actual sound of music sounds amazing.
It does. As long as it I get the feeling it's going to get boring after a while, and it's going to be awkward for me because I've always got my sound off on Smite. So I don't know.
I'm just waiting to see if Hi-Rez made the mistake they did with the other tier 5 skin, where it's so loud that you can hear it from like 6 miles away, so it's like never going to be used in ranked or anywhere, and if skins were available in SPL, it'd never be used because it's like extra noise. Hear the Thor from like 6 miles away.
Rejoice!
Yeah, that's what you hear. You're
Actually,
like, oh, Thanatos is ganking my lane. Let's back off. I just heard the rejoice from like 6 miles
Did,
away.
did you play the 5 Thanatos versus 5 Thanatos arena game not too long ago? One of the match of the days.
Oh yeah.
It's because they had access. You had access to the Angel Thanatos, didn't you? The Archon Thanatos, and all you heard the entire time was the VEW, which is just rejoice, 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 rejoice. 5 people doing rejoice the entire damn game. It got a bit old. Crazy.
To be fair, also a problem with the Archon Thanatos skin, which is why you probably won't see it in ranked, even if somebody does have it, is the fact that the field of view gets obscured by its evolutions as well.
Yeah.
And that could potentially see that happening with this Thor skin as well.
I can't not hear it now. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh god, we're gonna have to listen through Dark Eye giggling at a dirty joke that he came up with.
I didn't mean to. I just thought it sounded funny.
Okay, please.
Okay.
Well, why don't we move away from what is coming out in terms of skins and what's already out? Isis gonna get an update to her mastery skins and a new card. It looks fantastic.
She looks fine. Like, damn fine.
Yeah, man. Them legs.
Them chicken legs.
Them chicken legs.
Nice.
Yeah, but it does look cool. Does look pretty cool. I like where they're going with the new skin, with the new gold skins. This is what they should have been originally, though, isn't it? Like there was a guy on Reddit like a year ago, and he's first announced, and he's like, "This is what I think they should look like," and they just went with the flat gold instead.
Hi-Rez Plus. And now they're changing it, so...
They're changing it. They're changing it to the better option.
Yeah, they're changing the better. And
Yeah.
you saw the results with the Athena skin, and if they follow the same level of awe, I was gonna die happy, man.
I'm curious what they're going to do with gods like Ymir, though.
I imagine with Ymir, he's gonna stay. Gods like Ymir, Fenrir, Razaz.
There's like Buttermere.
Yeah, they're gonna stay the same because. I think their cards are gonna get updated, but the actual skin itself is gonna stay the same.
That makes sense, yeah.
Maybe just a bit of a texture update.
It would be nice to see a slight texture update with them, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Well, that is going to do it for us for the skins. Of course, voice packs going to be there for the Demon Soul and Ebon Soul Circuit, D for Aphrodite, Steel Scarab, Kepri, and Father Time Kronos. Achievements for you Bakasura, Soul, and Thanatos players out there. Bakasura the Butcher. Get 3 kills on an enemy god with the damage from Butcher's Blades, and eat 25 minions using eat minion in a single match. Should be fairly easy to get those ones. Soul, Supernova. Hit an enemy with all 8 strikes of Supernova.
That's going to be a challenge.
You can have somebody CCing them. You're going to have a Fenrir in your team.
Oh yeah, that's going to be one of the more difficult achievements to get, I think.
Not as difficult as who used Ricochet.
What was it hit 2 different gods with... no, 3 different gods?
It's hit a different god with different enemy god with each of your Ricochet bounces.
That's crazy.
Damn.
That is difficult.
Damn, son.
Where do you find this? Soul's Disapparate also getting a achievement with it. Stun 2 or more enemy gods with a trail from Disapparate. I imagine that's at the same time.
Is that a spelling mistake?
Disparate.
Disparate and with a trail from Disapparate.
Yeah, there's a spelling mistake on the patch notes themselves.
Okay.
We can finally blame Hi-Rez for something.
Hi-Rez, please.
Yeah. And of course, Thanatos achievements, Death from Above, execute 3 or more enemies in a single match using Hovering Death, and Reaper of Souls stunners 15 enemies out of their abilities.
That's going to be quite easy to do, those ones.
Yeah. Most of them are going to be done over time, apart from the Soul Supernova, which you got to set up for.
Yeah, that one you really need set up for. That's going to be good to get.
Yeah, I don't know why we don't have cards which you just throw at the camera.
Huh?
We don't have cards that we throw at the camera yet.
We need them. We need some, like... Should I just make some? Sushi, make some cards to throw at the camera.
Okay. Now, or you want another time?
Probably another time. Or now, if you make one now, that'll work too.
So, anybody here a big Clash fan?
I've played one game of it.
I didn't
Same.
even play it.
I played one game. I was like, I loved it because I went like 13-0, and I was like, this is really good. And then I realized I was playing against level 10s, but I liked it. I got fed. That was fun. I don't think it's amazing, but
that one game I played with AJ, like we destroyed the enemy team. It just wasn't fair. It felt like we were playing someone far below our level because they didn't do any damage to our towers at all.
yeah.
Well, good news for you guys then, because Clash is no longer going to be part of the live version of Smite. That's going to go back into PTS only. They're going to have the feedback brought in from the community, make some revisions before the actual release in, I think it was early 2016 they planned this for. Maybe even the spring time. Who knows?
I wonder what they're going to do to change it. Like, Siege started off as a 5-person mode, didn't it? And then got turned into a 4-person mode. If you can hear Sushi in the background making the cards.
Trying to.
Is this size good, or should it be bigger?
That'll be about
like
right.
this.
That'll be okay.
Whatever's comfortable.
Yeah, whatever's fine to throw. We've got to have our own like Gambit X-Man in the podcast crew.
I don't know, like Toad was meant to be the one who comes on and just says the inappropriate stuff. Who does stuff unprofessional. He's not here this week.
Toad does not do professional. We found that like a couple weeks back. There was no point trying to do professional.
Yeah, I kind of want to link him being a savage. Is that allowed?
He was savage. That was wow. So what?
Oh.
I also had to show my other half the video of the 10-minute pause from last week's EGL, where Sushi and Toad were stuck for like 12 minutes having to talk through a pause. In hindsight, I probably should have gone back into just gone to a music break, but
Probably.
But watching Sushi and Toad argue the entire time for 12 minutes was just too entertaining.
I can't believe I missed that.
It was great. It wasn't great.
It was so great.
I had to find something to do for 12 minutes with the camera. I looked at the crabs for 5.
Yo, that casting I did with Todd, that was like one of the most favorite castings I have of all time. It was just back and forth banter, and that was just amazing, dude.
It was terrible.
For all of you scrublings out there who are trying to get their way up in the world through the uses of co-op, you now have extra hard bots to fight. Medium difficulty is coming into the co-op in your miscellaneous patches for this patch. They're still going to have the easy bots, which they are right now, but the medium queues will still be there as well in Joust, 3v3, Arena, Conquest, and Assault. All the rules for playing the co-op queues will remain the same, and all the practice queues will remain at easy difficulty.
Wait, does that mean that Anubis bot is going to hit his wraps more often?
Yes, and they're going to be juking a lot more often.
But Anubis bot doesn't miss wraps anyway.
Well, to be fair, this is what they were talking about a while back when they said they were going to update the AI performances in the game. And I believe this is going to be starting off their rollout, where eventually it might mean that Nuwa gets a buff. So, somewhere down the line from this day, Nuwa gets a buff.
Nuwa. Yeah. Okay, let's carry on before we continue a Nuwa buff.
Alright, Logitech keyboard users out there, the illumination effects added option to enable, disable it in the options and controls. Default will be off. So if you have one of those keyboards and it's been illuminating and you want to keep it, you have to make sure you turn it on after the next patch. VGS enhancements. There's a slight typo in the patch notes as well. It's meant to be VVVD. Say ultimate is down. It'll still say how many seconds it has until the ultimate is ready. That's already implemented in this patch, actually, if you use it already. Yeah.
It is. I played Smite yesterday for like the first time in ages, and It was nice to have.
You've been
it
playing
back.
Paladins a lot more.
Oh, I've been playing Pokemon for the remaining for the past week or so.
Pokemon. So some people have gone to Paladins, some people have gone to Pokemon, and the rest of us have gone to Fallout. Okay.
And then there's me, and I'm just too exhausted to play any games. I just sit here, just crying every day.
You guys have been away.
Too
You
exhausted.
guys have been like doing stuff for quite some time now, haven't you? So
The oversaturation of Smite.
yeah, man.
And then I realised I have no other games I play. So I'm done. I'm done. So
just been chilling.
Guys are ready.
Have you just been sat at your desk, just like a?
Scribbling that in.
What do I do now?
yeah,
Right,
exactly.
Okay,
Without Smite.
we have 2 more things for the miscellaneous updates, and then that card will be done. Changes to how other player skins are shown on low-spec PCs. Now only engages when on 32-bit machines on minimal world detail settings. Requires a restart. If that means anything to anybody out there, congratulations. Doesn't mean anything to me.
What do you not know what it means?
No, I just know I got a 64-bit machine.
Yeah,
Easy customers.
man. Although there isn't a 64-bit client for Smite. What?
I'm not too sure.
I don't know.
And the final bit of miscellaneous updates: updated Hunter Standard Arena recommended item builds. No longer going to show Ninja Tabby and Bluestone. Instead, you're going to have Warrior Tabby and Death Soul, which is more in line with what the stats are.
That fits more of the meta. Like,
The arena recommended meta.
well,
Does that exist?
who the hell buys Ninja Tabby? Who?
Shibboleth with Transcendence.
I want to meet these people that build one Ninja Tabby on every hunter, though. Like, why? Why would you?
Yeah,
That attacks me, though.
Who are these people? Ninja Tabby. Oh, that's a good item.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there's people like that.
I know, right? Like, what the hell? Okay, Sushi, throw the card.
Yay!
Yep, the card. Let's move on to...
Did that bounce?
Yes, it went up and it came back downstairs.
What would be even more amazing if you threw it up, it bounced, and then landed straight back into the pile of cards?
Nope.
No, that's not going to happen.
Like
Don't
that,
even try.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Fuck, no, it doesn't work.
Okay, we're
Okay,
moving on to
carry
card
on.
changes. This is the meat and potatoes of this patch, and one we can really have a deep discussion about it. First up is On Her. We'll do 3 at a time, then we'll go about discussing it. So On Her, Desert Fury, increased physical power scaling from 15% per shot to 20%. Arachne Web. Arachne no longer loses web trails when a target becomes CC immune and Bellona. General fixed her T-posing in certain situations. I've seen it. It is hilarious.
Yeah, I've seen it too.
And Shield Bash increased the mana cost from 60 to 75, so hurting that early game just a little bit. So out of all of those 3 changes that we've had, we're going to go through more after this. Which one's the most significant? For me, I think it's going to be the Arachne one.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think the Anher change is going to be the most significant.
Anher
I
hurts.
think the Anher change is going to be one of the biggest ones there. Like he does a fair amount of damage as it is, but that ult scaling is going to bump him up a little bit. I think it's going to see more play.
That's gonna hurt.
The
It's
problem,
gonna hurt.
the problem with the scaling on the ulti is, it's like because late game you have more power, but late game you never use your ulti as Anher, so it kind of looks like a big buff, but in reality it's kind of not as much as a big buff. Like it's a small buff, but it's not as big as people think it will be, because you don't ult in the late game that much because it's never that good. Like you can, but most of the time you're just gonna auto and you're just gonna ult to chase the kill down to just confirm it. So I think the buff is gonna buff his early game slightly, but it's only very slight. I don't think it's gonna be as big as a buff as people were like reacting to it.
Makes sense. That Bellona one, it's nice to see how it actually gets some sort of adjust though, but I'm not sure if increasing the mana cost of
Yeah,
Dash by
that's-
15 is enough to affect her.
Oh no, I've got to wait 5 more seconds before I can use my dash.
Oh no. But I think the weakest change there is the Arachne one. I don't think it's going to do anything. I don't think she's going to be played more.
It's not going to change her viability, but in terms of actually having a fulfillment and enjoying playing her, it's a big change. Because I know as when I was playing Arachne in the solo lane, it was super frustrating to go up against a Hell. This was way back when I was playing solo, and back before Hell was meta. Simply because the cleanse just removed any form of kill potential you had on Hell. Period. All these speeds, all these sprints, just means that it was impossible for Arachne to really chase somebody down, and now she can. In a 5v5 team situation, she's not going to do that. She's not going to be able to chase down people. I grant that, but in casual queues where I spend most of my days, it's going to be fun.
On the
Also-
playground.
on the
On the
playground.
playground.
I think like that buff to Arachne can kind of, because I think Arachne's kind of in the state now where I don't think she needs to be changed, but if items changed and the meta shifted, I think she'd be played more. I think there's a lot of potential with Arachne, and with that change, I think her 1v1 potential goes up for like solo and definitely for like jungle, for jungle pressure. So maybe if like we saw changes to maybe item or itemization, or like the meta shifted more to early game, I think Arachne will be played a lot. But I feel like Arachne's kind of this god that if you make any number changes to her, she's going to be OP. So she kind of has to stay how she is, and then she has to fit into the meta, which is maybe going to happen, but probably not.
That was the issue with Arachne originally, though, wasn't it, as well? Like, her original setup, like, she could place 5 egg sacks down, she could, like, lifesteal, she could do everything she wanted to do, but then they nerfed her. And then they nerfed her numbers a little bit, and that screwed her up completely. So they reworked her, but now they've got the situation where, again, she's got one of those unique kits where if you do anything to it, you completely screw the viability of that god.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I want to see Arachne buffed a tiny bit.
Oh,
I don't know how, but I want to see just a little more love given to the spider.
It's
I don't wanna.
difficult to, though, isn't it?
Sure.
'Cause, like, she's like... She's an unusual one where her kit is like quintessential Arachne. Like, you can't, if you do anything with her, you cannot change those spiders. Those spiders have to be there. She has to be able to make them, but you can't make them stronger because those spiders hurt.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe something to affect her late game.
I think the problem with Arachne is like she has 3 abilities that are so all in. Like her 1, 2, and 3 are all so like all in, and then her ulti just kind of doesn't fit her kit. Like you can use her ulti to get out, but most of the time you have to commit so hard to a kill, you have to use your ulti to get the kill anyway. And then you're kind of like screwed. I just think her ulti is cool and it like fits the like aesthetics, how it's like a spider, you know, and stuff like that. But it doesn't really merge with her kit very well, and it feels kind of out of place in my opinion.
It is strange where she magically summons a spider web in the sky.
That is also pretty strange.
Like, how does she do that? She's it's like Spider-Man trying to use his webs like outside of a city. It doesn't work.
I'm not too sure.
Spider-Woman!
Oh god. Moving on to the next 3 gods that are getting changes. Chiron, Hell, and Khepri. This is going to be a lot of talking points, I imagine. Chiron, recent release, going to have his first round of adjustments, and they're going to be negative adjustments, i.e. nerfs. General, Chiron no longer counts as a healer for Assault. Praise be to the gods, he was the worst healer, and if you got him...
How did he count as a healer and Cupid didn't?
Because if you typed into God Search has healing, all the healers in Assault were there, and he was part of that.
Well, Cupid wasn't, though.
Cupid wasn't. Wait.
Cupid's not a healer, and Chiron is. It doesn't make sense.
So, the actual changes coming out for Chiron: training exercise reduced damage 70 to 290, going down to 70 to 270. So early it's not going to get affected, and then late it's going to be reduced to power by 20. Masterful shot increased cooldown to 14 seconds at all ranks, and reduced slow to 25% at all ranks. And Giddy Up fixed cancelling ability and still having no movement speed penalty. I reported that in the PTS as a bug. Got nothing back for it. And fixed rank 5 dealing true damage instead of physical. Didn't even know that was a bug. Hell's become very popular in the current meta, no surprise there, so she's getting some negative adjustments, some nerfs of her own. Repulse/Inspire, reduce the magical scaling on Inspire, the heal, from 50% to 30%, so she's a bit weaker on that end, and increase the cooldown on that skill from 10 to 12 seconds. He's going to have to wait a bit longer for that burst heal in the backline, or some damage. And Khepri. Round 4 on Khepri, the 4th time he's received nerfs. Rising Dawn reduced damage reduction from 20 to 40% down to 10 to 30%, so a 10% reduction at all ranks. And Scout's Blessing no longer provides power, which, praise be to the gods.
That is a huge change to Khepri. Like, that's going to do some serious damage to how often he's picked, I feel.
I think this changes the way... It makes Khepri how it should be, though. Because the problem with Khepri is it was just like, oh, Kepri's open, we're getting Khepri. You didn't have to think about the combos. Like, of course, there was some really good combos out there. Like, obviously, the famous one that was played a lot was Zhonghui Khepri, which is just crazy. But now it's kind of like Kepri's going to be I feel like he's going to fall out of favor. He's still going to be a good support, but he's not going to be... You can pick him in any situation. You're going to have to pick him with stuff, and you're going to have to think about comps with him. I still think he's going to be pretty good in comps, but you can't just... He's just not like an insta-lock where you can play it without stuff. that follows up on like the ult and stuff.
It's going to be interesting to see how much this really affects him. He's definitely going to be played a lot less, in my eyes, and the Rising Dawn damage reduction means it's going to be easier to kill people. The fact that the Scarab's Blessing had power, movement speed, and also provided a revive for the percentage HP was ridiculous.
Wasn't it a cleanse as well?
It's also a cleanse. It still is a cleanse. Which means if you time it correctly, you actually negate what was meant to be a counter in Arkwong ult.
Mm-hmm. It's yeah. Okay, it's I mean, I agree with Deku. It's gonna change how often he's picked. He's still good. He's still a support that you can use. He's not like bottom of the bottom tier.
He's still one of the top tier supports out there.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. But he's more situational than he was before.
Now you're going to be thinking, do we want Khepri or do we want Geb, for example? Who could do essentially the same job with that stone shield on a lower cooldown.
Yeah.
I think I disagree with the nerfs to Khepri. Like the Rising Dawn nerf is like, okay, I don't like that nerf. I like the Scarab's Blessing nerf, but I feel like the problem with Khepri is in the early game, he can just root and abduct people for free. Like the root just forces beads for free, which means that you have so much presence in mid because most mid laners don't have dashes and ways of getting out. So if they root, they have to beads, which is like what you saw at Super Regionals. Everyone was playing it, and they had so much mid pressure because they can't engage on you because you've got the ulti. And I feel like that's the problem with Khepri. It's not the fact like the power on Scarab's Blessing was really silly, but I think the nerf wasn't correct in my opinion, like completely. I still think he's going to be played, but he'll definitely be played less.
What about those hell nerfs though?
Let's not talk about those.
I mean, I don't think they touched the character.
They're not like the hell nerfs that were before. The hell nerfs we experienced like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, made her unplayable, so they reverted those. These ones are the nerfs I think that she's been needing for a while. But it's gonna see. I'm gonna hold out until I see it before I decide how much it affects her. Because the last time they changed her cooldowns, they completely broke her. She wasn't usable. So I'm curious to see how this extra 2 seconds on those two abilities is gonna affect it.
Well, most of the time you're going to be building upwards of 40% CDR. It's definitely at least 25 you're going to be building. So there's going to be a small difference in terms of the amount of times you can heal your team. They're still going to provide the extra movement speed as well. The only difference is you can't keep refreshing that and keep it on them constantly anymore.
I think from that lowered heal percentage, I get the feeling we may see more Rod of Asclepius on Hell. I like that item because combine that with her innate speed, she's so squeedy.
I don't think we will.
I like Rod of Asclepius. I like that item.
I feel like it's a good it's an okay item, but it doesn't give enough. You may as well, like, Tahuti technically gives more, even if Asclepius is, like, shinier and more interesting. I just feel like the nerfs to Hell are kind of, I don't know. I still think she's broken. I think she's going to be top pick, top ban every game, even with these nerfs.
Yeah. I can see it.
We can quote him on that.
Yeah. I can still see Hell being the god at the Smite World Championships. Like, the one that if you get them in your team, you're going to do a lot better. Like, she was that during the Super Regionals just this last week. If you got Hell in your team, you were statistically likely to win that game. Period.
What was it, like an 80% win rate or something?
Something
I think it lost
stupid like that.
Yeah.
Lost like 1 or 2 games, and that was because there was a Hebo.
Oh goddamn Hebo.
Hebo, man.
No.
The guy with 4 ults, one of them's crap.
Hey, but it's a bit better now because it got buffed.
Oh, okay, he's got 4 ults, one's not quite as crap. Damn Hebo, man. He hurts. He's so painful.
Finally, that Chiron downward adjustment as well.
He was pretty ridiculous.
It was doing a lot of damage. The slow reduction was needed because 35% at the maximum rank, you felt like you weren't moving. It was 5% less than a weakening curse slow. And you feel that.
5% less than a Chuck slow.
Yeah. I think Shark Slow is the exact same.
Chuck is 40, isn't it?
No, they reduced it by 5% before they made that patch
Oh,
live.
okay, cool. I always get Chuck's numbers wrong.
Yeah. I can still see him being a potent ADC, but just not as dominant as he has been.
Yeah, I'll go with that. He was pretty strong. He's pretty good. He wasn't like stupidly OP on release, but he needed a slight downward tweak. Only slight though. And I think this is probably it. I can't really say much. I've only played Chiron twice. So.
I can't say anything because like this god got released and I've been away and there was no access to the more up-to-date clients.
He got released just while you guys were at regionals, didn't he?
Yeah, so I haven't got to play him at all or played against him. So
no, I
can't really say.
He did need a slight downward adjustment, but I think this one is the rare case where Hi-Rez have quite possibly got the numbers correct with the first patch. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
There's a couple of fixes in terms of, well, just bug fixes, nothing really changing the gods for Noir and Poseidon. Fire Shards fixed voice lines not playing correctly when casting abilities for all skins, and released the Kraken fixed build-up sound FX not playing correctly on Dreadbeard skin. So you can now have all those sound effects being played correctly. 3 more adjustments coming out. 2 nerfs and a buff, actually. Soul going to be receiving one of the nerfs. Stellar Burst mana cost increased by 10 at all ranks, and slow duration reduced by 0.5 seconds, going down to 1.5 seconds at all ranks. Shing 10 also receiving a nerf. General reduced health per level from 100 to 90 to bring him down to the same level, well, roughly the same level as those other Bruiser Guardian role players. And Hook Slam axe damage reduced 30 to 110. All the way down to 30 to 90, and slam damage reduced from 60 to 220, all the way down to 60 to 180 at all ranks. And finally, Tyr. He's receiving a buff, actually. He struggled to compete early on in the wave, so this is going to help him out with that. Increase the damage from 60 to 220, all the way up to 80 to 220, so a bit of a buff in that early game. Late game staying exactly the same.
That soul nerf, I like it. I'm glad to see that she's getting her mana cost increase for it, and that slow was obnoxious, but it's still so much damage. I don't know how I feel.
You ask like you can ask one team and they'll be like, Sol's awful, and you can ask another team and they'll be like, yeah, Sol's broken. Like at Super Regionals, there was such a different opinion in Sol. Like 50% of the people thought she was really, really good, and 50% of them thought she wasn't very good. She was like okay. So, I don't know. I think this change is going to put her in a place where she's not going to be first ban at all, and people will realize that she can be played against, and this is just a small adjustment to comfort that as well.
People have started to get to a situation where they can actually play against the Soul now. I think when Soul was first released, especially, even without her ult, I never put points in her ult until like level 16, because it was useless, but when they buffed it. But the Soul was so difficult to deal with back then because her Disapparate, you couldn't stop her with anything. Her damage on her 2, which is still ridiculous, was ridiculous. And she did so much to towers. Now, I think, especially in Conquest, she's a great early. She's got a terrible mid. But then late, again, she's pretty beastly to deal with. She's like the inverse of Freya to an extent. Freya's got a terrible early game, but mid to late, she's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sushi's just busy typing away to everyone in chat.
I'm throwing the card. The tier buff.
Oh no! Why? Why are they doing this to Tyr?
Tyr's painful at the beginning. Like, I don't know why they're doing this.
I mean,
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I don't know why they've done this. Tyr, if we have a look at the numbers, Tyr wasn't played that much, yes, but in the games that he did play, he was doing well. Especially in the hands of Tibby, who showed that he is actually a ridiculously strong pick, if played correctly.
Yeah.
So to give him the buff, which allows his early game to be stronger, which means that players can then transition to the late game easier, Tyr can be very strong coming into the Smite World Championships.
Don't bring Tyr back.
I think the thing with Tyr, is online, he's like I think on LAN his value goes up so much because like I was talking to Variety because he played him a couple of games as well, and Harry was just doing crazy work with Tyr. I mean, I think we lost one of the games, but he did really well on it. But on LAN you're hitting the Fearless is so much easier. Dimmy was saying this too. I think it's one of these things that on LAN Tyr, like because his entire kit is like it relies on the Fearless, and you're hitting it so much easier on LAN. I think Tyr is going to be crazy good at the World Championships. I think he's going to be one of the higher value solo laners.
It's almost like with the On Her curse, in the fact that he's not really picked that much online, but when it goes to LAN, he is the hunter to pick, because those pillar impales are a lot easier to hit, simply.
Yeah.
So, could potentially be having those two picks just come out of nowhere. Well, you know the reason now. And the Xing 10 nerf, it was needed. He was just absolutely unkillable, ridiculous to play against, and did so much damage.
We were mentioning this yesterday at EGL, weren't we, AJ?
Yeah.
Where we had Dimmy playing Xing Tian, and it was like, what, 40 minutes in, and he had 4,100 health. Like, what? How'd you deal with that? It's got so much health.
It's almost like against the Xing 10, you need to have a god that naturally builds kin size.
Yeah, like...
Kali.
Well, yeah, she has to build kin size, doesn't she? But,
Yeah.
like, against Xing Tian, his health pool was a joke. Complete.
Nemesis doing 2,000 damage with a roll, that's broken.
Well, yeah. But yeah, like, Xing Tian, he needed a health reduction. It's there, I think, so... It'd be interesting, especially with those damage reductions. Like, lower him down by about 20 late game. No, lowers him... Oh, okay, so he lowers actually, what, 20 and 4. He loses 60 damage if he hits both.
Yeah. He loses 60 damage and 200 health at the very late, when he gets to level 20, so...
That's a fairly large nerf, isn't it, when you think about it in terms of numbers?
They haven't touched the scaling of it. The scaling wasn't particularly great. It's not really that great on most Guardians, to be fair. Except for Ymir Ultimate, which is 150%, I think.
Isn't Ymir ult like the most damaging ability in the game?
Potentially, I think.
I wouldn't say most damaging, but most damaging for a Guardian.
Yes.
It used to be Guan Yu's. I don't know if it still is Guan Yu. The horse technically has the most burst damage if you hit all the shots.
Oh, I thought when you meant Guan Yu's, I thought you meant old Guan, like just bouncing around, man.
We don't talk about those days.
Don't talk about old Guan.
Yeah.
Old Guan was so good. Bring back the bongos. Hashtag bring back the bongos.
Like, at least make a skin that brings back the bongos.
Yeah, man. Like,
Still shovel one.
Hold on.
2 more nerfs.
Jamaican Guan Yu bongos or steel drums. There you go.
I'll do sure.
Can be done.
Okay, 2 more nerfs coming out, and that will complete the patch notes. Xbalanque and Zeus receiving those nerfs. Xbalanque, ever since the start of Season 2, has been a top pick hunter. Always in contention in the picks and bans. So Poison Darts, one of his damaging abilities, his second ability in the one you level up first. That's going to see a slight reduction in power. Reduced damage per dart. Right now it's at 30 to 110. It's going to be reduced to 30 to 90. So top end receiving a 20 damage per dart nerf, and reduced physical scaling on additional poison damage from 20% to 10%. It's small nerfs. That ability hit like a truck.
It did.
It did hurt, yeah.
I think the thing is this nerfs Xbalanque's early game, and the problem with that, it means now that you have to draft a support that can hold his hand, whereas before you didn't. You could like run like Geb Xbalanque and you'd be fine. You'd have no clear, but you'd be fine because darts could clear under tower. Now it's kind of like darts won't be able to clear the wave like nearly as good as it was before, meaning his early game's gone down pretty significantly, and his late game's also gone down a little bit. But I still think he's going to be good. Maybe his value will go down a tiny bit.
He still gets the passive for his dash rate, doesn't he, from Poison Darts? Doesn't he?
Wait, what?
Wasn't there a thing that he's got where if he has poison on you...
Yeah, somebody...
Oh, yeah.
Still
gets the bonus damage.
Cool.
Still gets that bonus damage, so that's a bit of a big hitting ability there, but it's still going to get nerfed. And Zeus, Chain Lightning, those of you out there who are wanting a Zeus nerf, you've got one. Increased bounce delay from 0.2 to 0.3 seconds. It may not seem like much, but in terms of 4 bounces, at 0.2 seconds, that's going to be 0.8 seconds before all the bounces are done. At 0.3 seconds, that's going to be 1.2 seconds. That's a 50% increase to that final bounce, which is big.
Still don't like it.
You want more, don't you?
No,
I want more. I want the slow remove from chain lightning and put on detonate.
You people, we are on a different boat here. I think Zeus is okay, but I think he's actually pretty overrated right now. I think there's a lot of ways you can deal with Zeus, and I think this change is going to put him pretty in line with the rest of the mid laners.
I'm just having flashbacks to what Zeus used to be like. With his
when he's stunned.
With his detonate stun, you're like, oh, okay, I'm dead. Like, that was ridiculous.
Simple, draft Fenrir plus any god with burst in mid lane equals dead Zeus over and over again.
I mean, I think the pick that was played most against Zeus in Super Regionals was Bastet. Bastet was always drafted against Zeus, because Zeus can't really do anything. Like, the cats are taking the chain lightnings, meaning Zeus doesn't have the burst to kill the Bastet. If Zeus commits to the ulti, Bastet jumps out and gets a free ulti, basically. Like, I feel like Zeus is... the thing is the nerf changes his late game. His early game's still crazy. So he'll still be picked because he can win the game in 15 minutes because of his mid-camp control. But his late game has gone down significantly because of this.
I think the last nerf he had was his shield, wasn't it? Being slightly slower. That did a fair amount to curb his top end. But he still feels pretty strong. I'd say there are stronger gods, but he's still... I'd still say he's pretty top tier.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he'll still be very good. I don't think it'll change too much.
I mean, that's the thing. They can't take on the numbers drastically and make it a 1 second delay between bounces, because that would be ridiculous. They need to take the adjustment slowly and see where that places him, and then from there they can adjust again if needs be. But don't forget, this is going to be probably the last balance change before Worlds, and it's going to be interesting to see if Zeus does still maintain his relevancy. I think he will, and I believe that does it for the patch notes.
Yep, patch notes done. There you go. Throw the card.
All the cards are being thrown up like confetti.
All the cards. Yes, Scrub's throwing them.
There we go.
Bouncing them off the screen.
Yep.
Alright. And with the end of the patch notes, that puts us on to the Super Regionals Roundup. We had the Super Regionals going on. Of course, we had our show during the Thursday, which was the 3rd day. Before that actually kicked off was our show. So we're going to leave it where we left off. And that's going to be with the Enemy versus Envy game. That was an unreal set.
I was honestly not expecting that outcome. Go, Sushi, spoilers.
Yeah, there's... I think when we say Super Regionals Roundup, the spoilers are implied.
There we go. Right, Sushi's got the spoiler elite.
Alert.
Elliot.
It's kind of faded since...
It's been a week since you had to use the spoiler
I have
alert.
cats walking around all my stuff.
Okay, so why don't we just go through the list very quickly. So going to the Smite World Championships, going to be Enemy, Cloud9, Epsilon, Paradigm, and the wildcard team being Fnatic. The first place of each region that gets a bye on the first day at the World Championships, that's going to be Paradigm and Cloud9 from each of those regions. Paradigm winning 3-2 against Epsilon, and Cloud9 winning 3-0 against Enemy in their finals.
That was actually unexpected, Paradigm beating Epsilon. Like, we've said it loads of times before, haven't we? That Epsilon have played to such a level that we didn't think any other team would be able to catch them at the Super Regionals. And Paradigm, like, in the space between the splits and Super Regionals, they somehow managed to get to the same level as Epsilon. Like, how do you do that? That's crazy.
Apparently, you nearly lose to Dig, and then you just become really good. You just become really good. You nearly lose to Dig, and then you get magic powers.
I was about to say that the way that Dignitas played against Paradigm on the second day was just absolutely unreal. And we could have actually seen Dignitas take on that set instead. Just how close EU is at this point in time. There was upsets everywhere.
But I think the Paradigm boys, like, They played completely different versus us than they did versus Fnatic and Epsilon. They definitely stepped up the game. Like, they knew... I think that was, like, the warning signal for them that they nearly lost to us. I mean, we played out of our minds. Like, in all honesty, I was so proud of my team. Even when we lost, I had a huge smile across my face. Like, we played out of our minds, and I was so happy with that. But I didn't expect, after Paradigm's performance versus us, for them to 3-0 Fnatic. I was expecting Fnatic to honestly demolish them, because their performance versus us was, like, I don't want to be BM, but it was shoddy. Like, and then they really stepped it up versus Fnatic and Epsilon. And I think that's something that Paradigm have done throughout the entire season. They always play up or down to their opponents, which means they'll have really close games versus the lower tier teams, and really good games versus the teams that are higher than them, because they like play up and play down.
I don't think Fnatic expected the level of performance Paradigm had in that semi-final. They got blown away in that semi-final. Didn't even take a game off Paradigm, and they went down to the wildcard brackets where they had to take on London Conspiracy, which they did manage to defeat in a 2-1 set, and then they faced off against the NA wildcard representative of Eager after they defeated Envy in a 2-1 set. And then they just absolutely demolished Fnatic. Went 2-0. They were actually losing that second game against Fnatic, but according to Credit, it was a massive throw under the tier 1 tower in mid about 18 minutes in that cost them the game.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, there was a lot of upsets that no one expected, but as soon as a team got upset, they really brung it the next series, and they showed the reason, like, that it was just a one-time upset. Fnatic got upset by Paradigm. They instantly refocused. Like, they got their level of focus back. They go in. They, I think, pretty convincingly take on LC, and then very convincingly beat Eager. And that was just it. Like, that was, like, the story of Super Regionals. You got upset once, and then the next game you'd, like, do really well.
Well, apart from Envy.
You say that, unless you're talking NA. EU seem to have that.
EU, yeah. NA was crazy.
I mean, honestly was not expecting Enemy to win their first match, and then Envy to go against them, and Envy to lose. Like, what?
You said to yourself that there was upsets. You got upset, and then he played up. Envy didn't do that, in my opinion.
No, Envy did not. Envy, it was a...
It's almost like they got too demoralized from the fact that they lost and didn't get into Super Regionals after their first set. That I think that might was somewhere else, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, that was.
All I knew is Enemy were just playing out of their minds. Like, we scrimmed them the first day. The first day we got there, we scrimmed Enemy, and I'm not gonna lie, they demolished us. It was like 7-0 to them. They really destroyed us, and we were like, yeah, Enemy are a really good team, and we we scrimmed them the entire week, and they're the nicest guys as well. Like, that, I couldn't have wished for a better team to get to Worlds than Enemy. I absolutely love those guys. Like, they played amazing. They played amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
to
see.
Kinda,
you don't need to hold
I
it.
don't think we need a spoiler alert anyway.
Like, I will wave my hands when the spoiler alert is done.
I can't.
Okay.
But yeah, it was crazy performances by Enemy. I think, in my opinion, like Vicium, or probably, in my opinion, Pain was the MVP of NA for that tournament.
Definitely.
His calling was so on point. He gave that team so much direction. When we were scrimming them, like, you could hear Pain in the other room, like, shouting at his team, giving them this, like, direction. You'd hear in the other room, like, them calling fire. I mean, and we were just like, all right, boys, we pretend we didn't hear that. Just let them have the fire. Give it up, boys. But Payne gave them so much direction, and Payne played out of his mind. Like, he was the voice inside that team, and that's really what Enemy were. Like, they played like they'd been a team together for 3 or 4 years, the way they played. Their synergy was insane. It was actually really good to see.
They did really well.
I think that's what took Envy by surprise, is how clean Enemy's team fights were, because their team fighting was amazing. It was actually some of the best team fighting I saw.
It wasn't the same Enemy we saw at Splits. In the 4 Splits. Enemy, between the 4 Splits finishing and the Super Regionals, they were obviously working really hard to get to the stage they were at, and they did so well to do what they did. I mean, what did they do? They lost against C9 in the end, but both teams, C9 and Enemy, were just... wow. Both of those teams played out of their minds.
I mean, I was talking to Drelo, the coach of Enemy, even the entire time I was there, and he was saying, and he said to me, he was like, we didn't even scrim up to this event. We took from the SPL, we took 4 weeks off, and we just got here, and honestly, they didn't even scrim, and they played insane. Like they only had scrims at LAN, but the LAN environment really turned it for them. Like they played insane. I think Payne is the only one with LAN experience from that team.
Mm.
Yeah, Payne is the only one with LAN experience, and he really gave them the confidence, and then they all played so confident at LAN.
So
It was
they could potentially be the new Lanimals, taking that away from Fnatic.
Yeah,
Quite possibly,
see
yeah.
that. All right. I think that's going to about do it for us for the Super Regionals roundup. Just before we go on to the next bit of esports news, just going to say again, going towards our enemy, Cloud9, Epsilon, Paradigm, and the wildcard team Fnatic, and Paradigm and Cloud9 get a bye on the first day, already into this next round with the knockout brackets. We've got to esports news going down, and most of this is related to stuff that happened after the Super Regionals. So cryptic tweet from Weekend, a couple of them, signaling that him and Weekend and Cyclone going to go to an Xbox team, and the team was confirmed on Reddit a couple of days ago. And well, why don't you take us through the team?
Who?
Dark Eye.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah.
So the team they've got now is, by the looks of it, Allied's going to be in mid, Kiki so Cheeky is support, Omega is solo, and Cyclone Spin is going to be ADC with Weekend in jungle. Like,
That's a strong
that's
team.
a strong team, but like, I'm not sure how I feel about them moving to Xbox.
Well,
yeah.
essentially what the thing that's that's allowing them to do this is the qualification process for Xbox LAN. There are 4 ways you can get in, 3 of which they've already got the teams locked in for. There's the UMG, which Team Eager have already qualified from, the ESL UK going on this weekend, the MLG tournament, which is going on next weekend, the 5th and 6th of December. But then there's the open bracket tournament being held at the Smite World Championships on the 7th and the 8th of January. If you have a Xbox team, you have tickets to the Smite World Championship as well as Player Pass as well. You too can be part of the open bracket. And that's what's allowing all these PC players who did not make Worlds on the PC to go over to the Xbox, practice for a few months, and then potentially win that tournament there.
I don't like it.
I don't like
No,
it.
I don't like it.
No, it's like you've had your chance. I mean, the whole debate here is that the theory is that they're going over to the Xbox scene to go to Worlds, but the downside is if they go there, then they return back to PC afterwards, and they just do serious damage to the Xbox scene. To Xbox Pro scene.
And the PC scene as well. Like,
yeah.
The thing is,
It cheapens them both.
It's basically saying that, yeah, if you fail on PC, you can always drop out on Xbox. And then if you don't succeed on Xbox, you can always come back to PC. And I don't know. I just think there should be some ruling about if you've played in the SPL, you should not be allowed to go to Xbox in any way. Compete in any Xbox tournaments, even if it's open bracket. I really dislike it.
I think
Go ahead.
Sorry. I think what may happen is this is going to be the only year we see this form of qualification process go down. I mean, with the backlash coming out from the community already, and the whole debacle going on Twitter, on Reddit, I don't see them doing this again.
No, there's a lot of people who are unhappy with this. There are people who can't understand why it's an issue. Like, I know F-Dot has been saying that he doesn't understand why so many people are annoyed about it. But, like, I can get where the people who are annoyed at it are coming from, because it just doesn't seem right at this point. Especially when you consider that thing we had a few weeks back, involving almost an entire Xbox team being switched with denial. Like, that was what I think brought it to the forefront of everyone's minds, isn't it? So we've got to ask some serious questions about what requirements we need for the PC scene and the Xbox scene.
I think the big problem with it, though, is it's not organically growing a scene. The Xbox scene isn't being organically grown. It's having these artificial insertions from pros from the PCs. Well, that's kind of what it is. Like, these players
genetically modified pro scene.
Yeah, no, it is. It actually is, because they're in, like, these players are coming in, and the actual players organic through Xbox aren't good enough because they haven't played on PC. They've never had this experience before. They don't have the knowledge, so they're being moved out of teams, and they're getting these, former, like maybe retired or even current pro players that just want to go to Xbox because there's a higher chance of success because the scene's less developed. And in my opinion, that it's ruining the Xbox scene. It gives PC players a way of not another way of like qualifying. I don't like it.
So it sounds like we're all actually agreed on how we feel about this, at least. So
there should be like a platform lock for a pro member that they, like before the season starts, they have to choose if they want to go into Xbox or PC, and like they're not allowed to switch out midway.
That's possibly the easiest way of doing it, isn't it? Like when you sign up to the Xbox League, you cannot go to PC, and when you sign up to the PC League, you cannot go to Xbox. That's possibly the least drama way of doing it. Like saying you signed up to the PC League, you're stuck with the PC League until the next season.
But the problem with that is the Xbox does technically, like, it's an open bracket. So, but obviously, if you've been in the SPL, you shouldn't be allowed to leave. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to play Xbox if you're in the SPL.
I'd say for the challenges is acceptable, but SPL is a definite no.
I still think it shouldn't happen, but in challenges you can't stop it happening. Like, obviously, the entire roster of, like, let's say, I don't know, for example, like Torpedo GG could all say, oh yeah, we're going to Xbox, and they'd be a top tier Xbox team, like, easily, because they have all this experience. It wouldn't be good for the scene, but there's no way you can stop it. With the SPL, you can't stop it because Hi-Rez has a lot of control over the SPL players, and that is something that can be done, which I'd like to see done, to be honest.
Okay.
There you go.
Also in the news, Allied said on his Sunday stream, he may have had his opinions changed about this since then, but this was said on the Sunday stream that he may quit Pro Smite, depending on if his team needs him, if he feels like he can continue. It depends on a lot of factors, but he said if the situation isn't right for him, he's not going to stay on a Pro Smite. He also said that Envy are going to have some roster changes by the beginning of Season 3. And you got to think that with the fact that 4 out of 5 Envy members have gone over to join this Xbox team with Omega, and Incon not being there, it's going to start some thinking that Incon might be someone who could get dropped, and I honestly think that that's going to be a mistake.
I think Incon's one of our strongest team members, if I'm honest. He's a great shot caller. He can play support really well. I'm not quite sure about his mid play in Super Regionals, but when it comes down to support and shot calling, I don't think there are many other players in NA who are as good as he is.
The problem with Incon's shot calling is obviously with him playing mid, which is a role he used to play, but he's not. He's never played on this high of a level. He's going to be thinking more about his personal play, whereas support he's much more comfortable, meaning he's much more flexible with his shot calling. He can do it a lot more because he knows the role so well. I think Incon moving to mid was a big mistake by Envious. That's my opinion on it. I mean, obviously they thought it was a good idea, but I think it was one of the biggest mistakes. I think the roster changes, I don't think it'll have anything to do with Incon. I think Incon will probably stay in Envious. I think it might have something to do with Cyclone going to ADC, which means they're kind of making this kind of room for maybe Allied not to be there, which what it seems like, because they have the solo open, but I don't think Allied will move to solo. It's never been a role he's really played that much. And then they're going to have Kiki support, and then that means there's going to be mid open. Maybe Incon's going to stay mid. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I don't think Incon's going to get dropped somehow. I think the team know how valuable he is to them.
I think if we were excuse me, if we had the current Envious team, the current one, like Incon support, or the previous one to what it was at Super Regionals, who do you think, if we had to choose one player in that team to switch out, who would you have thought that would have been?
It's difficult because both of them, all of the players in that team have had their ups and downs. They've got their strengths, they've got their weaknesses, and they play as a unit. They have this game plan which the 5 of them together can execute, and I don't see anybody else coming in to that team and immediately fitting in with that game plan.
I honestly, I think you're right in the way they fit as a unit, But at Super Regionals, they did not fit as a unit. Weekend did not feel like he was on the same page as them. He felt like he wanted to do a lot different, a lot more things different than what the game plan clearly was. And I think that was their weakness. They just weren't on the same page. Like, I think the 4 of them were, but I think Weekend wasn't on the same page as the rest of the MBS roster, to be completely honest. And I think the change, for me, I would have said Weekend would not. I think Weekend was the weakest player for them, not because his mechanical skill was lacking, but it just didn't feel like he was on the same page. His decision making was completely off compared to the rest of the team.
Fair enough.
But that's just my opinion.
I mean, we all have our opinions of different professional players, and I know that some of us here think that Weekend is not the strongest player on Envious. I could see him getting replaced, but at the same time, who do they pick up in the jungle role instead?
I mean, you could see an unknown. We've seen it happen before. We've seen unknowns picked up. People we don't really know. They've played with them in ranked games a couple of times and realised they're actually pretty good. We've seen them appear, and they've done quite well. So, never know. See what happens.
Yeah, I think I'm not too sure about the NA scene and the junglers, but I know there's a few talented players hanging around the high-level challenges to like the kind of like trying to get into the SPL, and I think there's a big talent pool to choose from. But making a roster change, obviously, like that will be such a big thing, and I don't think it will happen, but I think there'll be an attitude adjustment maybe to some of the players on MVS, and they just need to get back on the same page. Because when they were dominant, they were all on the same page. Like, it was really clear. And now that's kind of gone.
Alright, we got recently tweeted out the brackets for the Smite World Championships for both PC and Xbox. They are up and available, and they'll be posted in the chat in just a second. You can see quite a few regions. They still have their representatives to be decided. I know that China, they have their regional championships ongoing right now. Brazil, they've had their rescheduled finals for this weekend. OCE, they've already had theirs done, and the Latin America, they've already had theirs finished as well.
Yay.
AlphaJackal are a team to look out for.
Definitely.
Yes.
I've seen them play. They are very good.
Coaches Bay.
Coaches Bay.
Coaches Bay.
Why is it we've always got to be somewhat biased towards people we had on the show, haven't we?
Oh, Coach is just amazing. Like,
Coach is
even
good.
before
He's
we had
cool.
him on the show.
He's done some amazing work. Like, he did amazing work with Titan. He's done amazing work with AvantGuard. It's nice to see that they've been rewarded with a spot in the SPL.
Okay.
There's not much we can say. We've got the brackets, and that's like that's basically it, isn't it?
We got the brackets.
I need a heart over here.
So what we can say. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna like the problem. By the way, coaches, but I'm gonna think that's about me because I'm a coach. I get to think.
Yeah,
That's okay.
it's obviously about you. Could be about me as well.
So the PC brackets are weird because it's guaranteed that an EU there's definitely going to be an upset somewhere in these brackets. They're such big brackets. They're best of ones to start off with. I don't like best of ones. I hate best of ones. I think it's the worst thing in Smite, a best of ones, because there's so much cheese that can happen in Smite that you can lose one game because of it. And best of ones, no bueno for me. I really dislike best of ones.
I think there were a few people on the Reddit who said a similar thing, that the difficulty of Hi-Rez have made it too difficult here because they've got 4 days for all of these matches. And the Super Regionals was, 5 days?
Yeah.
6 days.
So it's a load of more days for fewer matches. And now they're trying to squeeze as much as they can into 4 days. I don't know why.
I think it's it's basically the running costs of this entire tournament versus the profit that they can squeeze out of it. And 4 days maybe was the best possible solution that they had for this. What we can say about the Smite World Championships is the first day, 8 teams, excluding the top NA and EU teams, are going to be competing in a double elimination best of 1 bracket, where if you lose 2 games, you are out. If you win 1, you are guaranteed to go through to the next day. And winning more games than 1 puts you in a better position.
I think the running cost comment that you made is just, this is where like Hi-Rez, because all these games are played in the big event center, which in no other esports does that happen. Like the best of ones, the like group stages basically, or the placement rounds as they're called. I don't know why they're being played on the main stage with the huge audience. They're best of ones. Some of the teams are more unknown. They're not gonna like Brazil one versus China one is not going to get the same viewership as a European matchup or an North American matchup. Maybe, you know, it will if they prove something, but the first games, not many people are going to watch this. And I feel like there should be, the placement rounds should be all done in, like, I don't know, that, like, say the Hi-Rez Studios, like Super Regionals done, where the running cost is a lot less, and then the quarters, the semis, and the grand finals should all be done on the stage. That's, in my opinion, how it should be done. But obviously there's complications to that as well.
The thing we've also got to think is like a lot of us can remember last year's Worlds, the last Worlds, and that was how can I put it nicely? The NA and EU matches were better.
Definitely. Although we did almost see an upset in one of the games where I believe it was Titan.
Titan almost lost to, was it Brazilian or Chinese?
It was OMGY, was it? I don't know who it was.
Oh, that's a China team, isn't it? OMG?
Yeah, it was a Chinese team.
Yeah, they almost lost.
Wow.
I just remember Cabraca mid and Pretty Prime nearly dying.
No, it
that
wasn't Pretty Prime.
that
That was Boosh. Yeah, that was Boosh,
yeah.
wasn't it? The Cabraca mid dude. Wukong mid with meditation. That's what we're going to see next.
But it's something interesting to think about, though. But no one really knows much about the Chinese bracket. So we could be seeing some remarkably janky stuff that we've not considered before, and that'll be interesting to see. But I think the first round, or the first like loads, I think NA2 is SushiNur 1. That is that's enemy versus avant-garde, isn't it?
Yes.
So that's going to be a damn good match, I feel.
Yeah.
And EU2 versus Lat AM. That could be a decent match.
That is Epsilon versus Israel's Gaming, and Solana is coaching Israel's Gaming right now, and he was a coach for Epsilon before.
But you know who's coaching Epsilon?
Bay.
Young Bay. I have to get him in every show.
Well, the thing is, though, he may not be beta everybody right now, as he apparently did get everybody sick. From
I heard about that. Yeah.
The Super Regionals.
Wait, I didn't hear it.
He apparently got everyone ill. There you go.
I don't know. In my room, I got everyone ill. Like, I got everyone in Dig ill. I came with a cold, and everyone was like everyone woke up saying I've got a sore throat every day, and they blamed me. So I don't know. Maybe it's a coach thing. Maybe coach bring illness.
Yeah.
To their team. Maybe that's one of the things coaches do.
Yeah. Here's what you find as well that in Paradigm that they were all ill from Lilia. Never know.
Ooh.
Ooh, what are you gonna say, Sushi?
No.
She can't pick up the phone, but she can pick up a cold. Easy.
Oh.
God. Okay.
Oh god.
Okay.
It's the joke with Lydia. Come on.
No comment. I am not taking any responsibility in anything said. I'm not getting in more trouble with Lydia.
Alright.
Let's carry on, shall we?
Okay, so MVPs of the full split that just happened. Barracuda was your NA MVP, and Adapting was your EU MVP. I can't see anything wrong with that. They played out of their minds, and well deserved, both of them.
Yeah, both played really well. They both deserved their MVP spots.
It was just, I just didn't like how they did it. Like, why did they give the SPL MVP for the Super Regionals? It kind of didn't make sense. All hail the king.
All hail the king.
I mean, his online performances were good. Not sure about the LAN performances. I think he performed worse on LAN. He still played very well, but on LAN, he definitely wasn't the monster he was online.
That's fair. That's fair reasoning, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're moving on to a bit of unfortunate news for Cognitive Gaming. They've got 2 players leaving. Meerkat and Kabom have both left the Cognitive Gaming institution and will no longer be playing on that roster. Going to have to find a couple new members for the Season 3. It's difficult for DJ Pernicus to handle that. We could see that he's wrote a massive twit longer about all of this.
It is a pretty long one, isn't it? I mean, he's one of the people who prefers to keep everything in house, isn't he? He doesn't like the team drama coming out. So it's a shame, but I don't know. There were questions about COG, weren't there? So I don't know.
But of course we do wish everybody who did leave Cognitive and who's staying on Cognitive the best of luck in the future.
Yep.
I hope that they find a team soon.
I love Cog. I love Kabom. Kabom is like the funniest guy. At LAN, I love Kabom. He was so funny. I hope to see Kabom and Meerkat find new teams. Because I think they're definitely good.
There were some great after-game interviews with them.
Yeah, the best is
that was the John Cena one, wasn't it?
No, I wasn't even talking about the John Cena one. I was talking about the one where he basically gave one-word answers.
That one.
Yeah.
I don't know how I felt about that one. That just felt awkward for Bart and Brandon.
And then the DJ Pernicus reaction video afterwards.
That was just a complete piss take of Kretz, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
So I was out having... Was it Kretz video? I just got back from lunch. And it's delicious, by the way. And Evan Pernicus just completely went with that. It's like, okay. Okay, Pen.
Okay.
But no, I still think the best after game interview was the John Cena one.
Yeah.
That was...
I think it was Adonis and F. Dot that were casting that game, and F. Dot was there cheering it going on, and Adonis was there, his face palmed on the desk, like, "Oh my god, can he?"
I remember.
That was so good. That was a
I
great.
have to find it now. Give me a second.
Pern is the reason that the interviews are now done on Mumble and are no longer done on TeamSpeak because you can't have soundboards on Mumble. So thanks for that, Pern.
So the Curse voice player interview is no longer done on Curse.
Oh no, it's always done on Curse. Don't worry about that. It's always done on Curse. It's just TeamSpeak Curse and Mumble Curse. It's always done on Curse. It's always Curse voice. Don't worry about that.
Always Curse voice.
Of course. Okay.
Of Curse.
Of Curse.
Curse voice listening.
Oh my god. I guess that really was cast as Curse. Come on, admit it. That's one of my better puns.
It is.
Yeah,
but
it is.
It is. I to kick everybody off the show and just do this by myself.
Hey, please, you need my spoiler blackboard right here.
I can make a spoiler notice pop up on the screen.
Yeah, you can.
Still, we do have the Chinese and Brazil regionals going on, as I did say. Chinese regionals, OMG-A, they are unfortunately out. They lost 2 games in that double elimination series. So there's OMG, OMG-B, and the favourites Kiao Yu. Out of those 3 teams, 2 will advance to the Smite World Championships. Of course, the Brazil regionals, they unfortunately had to be delayed because of a fire at the event. They have been rescheduled for this Saturday, the 28th, 1 spot at Worlds Gaming.
So we're guaranteed at least one OMG team?
Yes, we are.
Cool. Well, we were from the beginning, weren't we? I don't know why I'm saying that. Like, we've always been guaranteed an OMG team.
Yeah. And everybody who's been paying attention to the Brazil SPL and all the formats they have down there, they're tipping off INTZ Esports to take that in a clean sweep against Pain Gaming.
I linked the DJ Pernicus interview in chat, by the way.
Okay.
There you go. Sushi, doing the important stuff. Making it so our viewers stop listening and start watching YouTube videos instead.
It's like 30 seconds, so it's fine.
Yeah, go watch this while we talk about something you don't want to listen to.
Yay! Oh my god.
Of course you want to listen to this. We've got DekuScrub.
Why would you not want to listen to our show? Our show's great.
I know.
I mean, I don't think a reason for listening is you have me. I think that's a reason to not listen.
No, that was last week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the throwaway guests.
Wow, don't hate.
Since last week, we've had to put in a buffer of me and AJ get to choose whether your guest is good enough.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought you guys enjoyed having them on.
No, they were great on the show. They were great,
but the backlash from announcing them as guests wasn't exactly. Really.
We had 0. We had a score on Reddit of 0. Mind you, this is the Smite subreddit. They like downvoting stuff.
Yeah.
Like this week's
downvote.
This week's show is 1 upvote.
Yay.
67%. Which, hold on, who hasn't been upvoting these videos or these announcements? Sushi.
I think I forgot this week's.
Oh my god.
Like Sushi as well. Like we're trying to get more people to notice our Twitter account. So I'll tweet out on the Twitter account, and then I'll retweet it, and then AJ will retweet it. Sushi will reply, and then not retweet it. Like
I usually retweet it though. Like, why are you hating?
Oh, come on.
I even put my effort in. I retweeted it and Dig retweeted it.
Yeah,
exactly.
See, this is what I guess. This is why I love our guests sometimes. Like,
Our guests are more professional than the people that we have on the show regularly.
I know, right?
I'm leaving the show. I'm not appreciated
This is the third week on the road, Sushi. You're meant to be leaving the show.
Yeah.
I'm leaving every week.
Oh, how long can Sushi last on next week's show? Tune in to find out.
Next time on
so
Pantheon Podcast Z.
Oh god.
Oh my god. We spent like 4 episodes powering up, and then
Well, I'm gonna rush us on out of the esports news and into the God discussion. If you've been listening to the show for the past 4 weeks, you know that each week we're going to talk about a specific god, talk about exactly what it is that they do, how you build them, and this, that, and the other. We've done everything but a guardian, so this week it is a guardian. It is Sobek, one of the premier guardians out there, can play the solo lane, which he is primarily played. But if you're NA teams, you might want to run him in support as well.
Sobek was one of the earliest supports, wasn't he?
Yeah. It was one of the first supports that you actually properly comboed with, because Sobek fling into Artemis Trap. That was the OG combo.
I miss old Smite. Like there are some really cool things that you could do. I miss green buff and white buff.
I wasn't around when that was a thing.
I know. I know you two weren't. I think me and Deku were.
I was.
Yeah, man. Green buff,
I remember
white
all that
buff.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Deku was around for longer than you, Darkai. He was.
I know.
Before the show, he was telling you of all these things you'd never heard of before.
I know.
Turn minion, boys.
I'd never heard of Turn Minion. Like, wow. That's how, like, it wasn't. It can't have been that long before I started playing. Like, I was around for Release 1, if I remember correctly. So, I don't know.
There was a lot of stuff that was just bad in old Smite. I love it now, but when it was released.
There was one thing which was great, and that was Fire Giant and literally every buff. Like, if you last hit a buff, you got it.
Oh,
so you could have every single buff. You could have speed, damage, blue, like, white, Fire Giant. It was amazing.
So you just went around the map collecting buff last hits.
Oh, yeah.
Like 17 buffs on your belt.
Yeah,
Well,
you
no,
could
like
have a
5.
super powered person.
Yeah, you're like Super Artemis.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
God.
great. It is amazing.
That actually sounds terrifying.
And then there was
Yeah, it
cooldown
does.
buff, and no one wanted cooldown buff. It kind of just got left there. No one really wanted cooldown buff. It just it's like,
It's
this
'cause
stuff kind of sucks.
It was blue and white was separate, weren't they? So you had mana regen and you had a cooldown buff, and like in the lane, you had so many invades because there's one side that had the white buff and one side had the blue, and everyone wanted the blue buff. So there was always a fight over one team's blue buff constantly. It's like, I want that buff, damn it!
This was back in the day where in ranked, if Sobek and Amir were picked, there was no supports open, so you basically lost the game. Like, you just didn't have a support.
The strategic Sobek and Ymir ban, so everybody was fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember there used to be a casual draft mode, didn't there? Like you were able to practice for what would have been like pro games or for what eventually became ranked, where you could practice your picks and bans, where you could just draft. It was great. I miss it.
I still remember the team draft, like where you had to do 5-man team conquest.
Team. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got picks and bans there in casual queues.
I'd love that to come back.
Same here, but I don't think it wasn't played that much.
It wasn't, but that's because the matchmaking was terrible. You'd have a team of 5 level 30s fighting a team of 5 level 1s.
Yeah.
Well,
And
wouldn't go that far.
that just wasn't even a game. So,
Well,
anyway,
so
back.
moving this back onto Sobek. I don't know. We can split this discussion into 2 parts actually, because he's primarily done in the solo lane, but he's more colloquially known as a guardian to the newer players, which is a support role.
Yep.
Support role god. So let's talk about the solo lane first. What sort of items do you want to be starting him off with? Most of the time, it's Mark of the Vanguard.
Mark of the Vanguard's a great item on him. Like, it just helps him with that tankiness, doesn't it? He doesn't have to worry as much. So, and especially if he's against a warrior, it negates a huge chunk of that Bluestone Pendant damage.
it just helps him with the early game. It means that he can tank minions to not let them under tower, so he's not losing as much gold with his passive as well. So he's getting a lot of protections. It means that he's just able to not lose too much to creeps, to tower, even too many creeps to tower. And then with the change to cooldown boots, with the change to pen boots, now you go cooldown boots on him, obviously, because you need mana on Sobek really badly. Even with the changes to Sobek, mana's still a huge thing for him. But the thing with Guardians in solo and what's been going, and Mark of the Vanguard especially on Guardians, is you get to lane so late that your jungler generally is going to miss one set of mid camps, and you have to give up a set of mid camps, which is why gods like Zeus are played with gods like Sobek. Because then you have the way of securing mid camps, even if you get there late. But
okay, so what matchups do you want to be picking Sobek into, and what matchups don't you want to be?
I'm gonna say playing into a hell is great
Playing into Bologna is also
because he's got Sickening Strike. He lowers her healing.
I mean, I don't think playing into hell ever is good. If they have hell, it's kind of oh, hell, boys, we're not winning this game.
Something's gone wrong for you in the picks and ban stage.
Yeah. That's when my team turns around and is like, Deku, what are you doing? Why is hell in this game?
You're like, trust me, I've got a plan.
It's Sobek with Divine Ruin first item. That's the plan. That's the plan.
Sobek Pestilence Divine Ruin. There you go, done.
Oof. And then Hell still manages to do 40k healing, even with that.
Yeah.
Oh god. The terror.
But yeah, Bologna is definitely a good matchup for Sobek. Sobek loves being picked into Bologna. It's one of the best. It's one of the better matchups.
That's all Bickham can play. So.
Bickham's Sobek of fame.
Yep.
Doesn't he have a relatively favourable matchup against the Hades?
I mean, it doesn't die to Hades simply because CC Mean Ultimate and also the Charge Prey gets him out of the situation, and the heal from Sickening Strike, but I don't think he just outright wins it.
No, he can though, because the way Hades, I mean, it depends how the Hades is doing it, but basically you pluck the Hades when he blights the minions, and you then knock him away from the wave, so you're basically denying him blight, but he has two ways of applying blight.
Yeah.
So you win the early matchup, if the Hades is dashing and 3ing the wave and he doesn't have his 2, so level 2, level 3 maybe, you can kind of deny his clear, but it's not a favourable matchup. You just don't die to Hades, and you lose less gold than most people do versus Hades.
It's sort of difficult for me to try and think of a very, very bad matchup, one where if they've picked an enemy god, you just go, no, I'm not picking Sobek.
ADCs in solo, generally, because Sobek can't touch them, and they just get to farm so much. So that's kind of it's not a bad matchup for Sobek, it's just bad for your team, because the ADC's not getting pressured at all, because Sobek really can't pressure an ADC. Other than that, I don't think he has that many bad matchups. He's kind of just a solid all-rounder.
Yeah.
He's an old one, isn't he? He's one of the premier. He's one of the first Guardians that kind of went into solo lane, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
I think
Hades.
Zalia was the person that piloted the solo back in the day, when this was when solo just came out. There was all these crazy picks going on, and I'm pretty sure Zalia was the one that brought Sobek to solo.
He was also the one who pioneered the Bakasura solo, wasn't he? Way back when, the launch tournament.
Way back when.
Back when Shark was top pick, top ban. Those were the days.
Way back. Chuck used to Chuck just fell off, didn't he? Really?
Yeah.
But...
He used to be ridiculous simply because he had a lot of damage. He could build tanky and just kill you still, and he was completely damage immune in his ultimate. I think that was the big selling point, is the fact that for 5 seconds you couldn't kill him because you couldn't cast abilities, and he'd be damage immune for 2 of those seconds.
Yeah, Chuck's ult was stupidly good. There's a reason it was nerfed hard.
Yeah.
And that ult's now in a good spot, but no, I think Sobek's pretty great. He had a change to his ult fairly recently, didn't he? Where he gained protections in his ultimate?
Yes,
in his
30 protections when you go into your ultimate.
Yeah,
and the ult slows more, doesn't it?
It slows between 20 to 40 now. So
it hurts my soul. It hurts my soul.
He wasn't getting as much play as you would have thought. Then they buffed him a bit, and he's been seeing a bit more play now. So
Well, that's exactly what I want from a buff, is
Yeah.
this god wasn't played, buff him, now he's getting played. Fantastic.
But he's not getting played so often that it's stupid, and he's not so stupid you can't deal with him. So Sobek's, he's one of those unusual ones now where you don't see it as often as you'd think, but Sobek is actually one of the more balanced of the gods in Smite at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually is saying that, like, he's pretty balanced. It's not like you're gonna ban him. You'd only ban him for respect bans, and that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yeah, you ban it against Bickham because he can play Sobek, Shingten, and basically everything else.
He has a Bologna.
A bit of Bologna.
Yeah.
Well, which solo laner doesn't have a Bologna? Let's be honest.
Well,
I mean, even I have a Bologna. I don't even play
Variety.
Yeah.
Variety didn't play Bologna. That's
Harry
why we lost.
Harry flew.
If Harry played Bologna, we would have won.
Blaming Variety now.
Oh god.
But no,
So-
I don't think Sobek is one of those gods which is, he's like the marker for balanced.
Yeah.
He's pretty much there. He's
Well,
pretty on spot.
we talked a bit about his solo lane potential when we switch over to the Guardian role, where he's playing that support. Talk about the hunters that he wants to be paired with, the hunters which he doesn't want to face, and the supports he doesn't want to face. You pair him up with very aggressive ADCs. Like, I like playing him with Ulla. It's because the plug is a guaranteed axe, which is guaranteed Ulla combo, which is most of your health gone bye-bye.
That is a great combo. If you've got a Giannis as well, like, Sobek's an amazing pick. Like, pluck
Yo.
into portal, into stun from...
They did that.
Oh,
They had a thing where, like, they plucked with a Sobek into portal and then into Ymir ult, I think it was. I'm not
Yeah.
exactly sure.
I think that was at the full split, wasn't it? That was some, like, I think everyone got hype when
I think it
that
was Summer
combo
Split,
went
I'm not
off.
exactly sure.
Yeah, it was a great move though. Like that combo had everyone going. It's almost as good as the Hoagie Ricochet Amir combo
Ooh.
that happened. That was
yeah.
sex. That
Yep.
was sex in game form. It's
The
amazing.
Hindla.
No, that wasn't him.
Not Hindla. That was a Zap man and Dare to Care.
That was that. That's definitely a Zap play.
Yeah.
But no, I think back to Sobek first. Sobek in lane against other supports, he has a pretty hard time against Amir, and he has a pretty hard time against Geb. Like Geb's shield stops the pluck if you time it correctly.
The thing is, though, like I'm like the OG Sobek. Like if you ever watch me in
OG
challenges, I only played Sobek, and I think Sobek, like, versus Geb, you don't pluck the ADC, you just pluck the Geb.
Yeah.
And just throw the Geb, and then the Geb can't do anything. I think the one thing that counters Sobek is Mark of the Vanguard, because then the minions don't do anything to the other support. So when you pluck them into minions, they can't do anything. So like a Geb with the Mark of the Vanguard, you can't really do anything versus in lane. But I think he's okay versus Amir. It's like a pretty even matchup. I think Bacchus is his only bad matchup, because if you pluck Bacchus has the option to flop on you or just flop out, meaning you can't really poke him. So I think Bacchus is like, and you can't interrupt his 3 with a tail whip anymore.
Oh, he's
I'd say
knock-up
Bacchus.
immune, isn't he? Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
He is.
And Bacchus also has some decent push with the Belgian gods now knocking back minions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think Sobek does have an issue as well, where if you miss, especially in duo lane, he's a little bit less forgiving for him, isn't it? In solo, if you miss your pluck, you can get out relatively easily. In duo, if you miss your pluck, you're in a very bad spot.
Yeah.
And that's his issue. That's his big issue.
much.
Like, if you miss, like, you've seen it so many times in pro matches. You've seen it in ranked, in casuals. Sobek misses. Sobek gets stuck. Sobek dead. So
That's my Challengers Cup career, to be honest. I miss Sobek pull, I die, first blood in lane, still win the game because Fex has carried me. No problem.
Fex says,
I need to play Sobek more often. I need to get his what is it? His legendary skin, just because his black has that green tint, and the green tint looks really cool.
Be nice.
It's nice. It's one of the nicer of the flat gold skins. So there you go. There's an excuse. If you want to get that, if you want to get a God to Mastery 5 for a cool gold skin, just get Sobek's.
Yeah, so the early game for Sobek is one of his strengths, especially in that sport role, because he can just bully. He's essentially the zoning master. Even Ares can't touch him, because just the threat of getting plucked and taking most of your health in damage from minions and the enemy hunter is just too much of a risk to try and push up for, if he's zoning correctly, that is.
Although later game, that same plug is a curse. Because if
Yeah,
you plug the Ares...
Yep, he's just got a free blink, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
So, what's some of his weaknesses? I, for one, feel like in a 5v5 situation, his single target initiate with his charge prey can be his downfall.
It can be, but if you get the right person, I mean, with that, you're putting yourself in a bad situation to get that pick. But he does have his knock up to give him that little bit of a chance to get out. But if you get the right pick with that pluck, it's screw that guy in particular, so you can get a good combo off. But that's also like his pluck is also his biggest weakness, in that he has to put himself out of position, and if you miss it, you win the middle of the enemy team. So,
and also beads. If you hit the pluck, yes, you're gonna get their beads, but then they're not gonna get plucked, and you're still stuck in the middle of 5 people.
yeah.
No one thinks about the OP thing about Sobek. The OPest thing you'll ever see. You blink tail whip. That's a mini Sylvanas ult right there. This is like you're not seeing the value that you get.
Everyone expects you're gonna pluck so they beat. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
You just blink too. This is like broken.
Yeah,
Thing is, the tail whip guarantees a pluck as well.
yeah.
Yeah. I think tail whip's actually really underrated. It's actually really good.
I think Sobek combined with an Wheelish as well. Like, even if you miss the pluck, his tail whip's a knock up. So you've got the Wheelish ult.
That's what I'm saying. Sobek's just like mini Sylvanas. Apart from he doesn't have anything apart from the knock up. He has no healing, but it's okay because he's a crocodile.
He has healing. He has healing for himself on a sickening strike.
Like, he's a greedy crocodile.
Yeah, sickening strike and anti-heal. It's great.
Yeah.
Actually, the anti-heal is pretty obscene as well. It's like 50%.
It's
Yeah.
It is 50.
It's a 50%.
Yeah, it's 50.
50% anti-heal for 4 seconds. Like,
It is very good.
yeah, like against a hell late game, that's doing some serious work. Combine that with a weakening, boom, no heals for you.
Boom.
Hold
Then
on.
they disengage.
Yeah.
And then when the weakening wears off and they re-engage.
Yep.
But I think
Disaster.
Sobek with a pestilence, like he's doing what he needs to do there.
Yeah.
Like he's in the middle of them reducing their healing. He's hitting them with a sickening strike, reducing their healing, and like I like Sobek when it comes to the late fights. Like it's very difficult to do, especially when you consider his passive, where basic attacks and abilities give him protections, and he can get up to 21 protections from that for 3 seconds. That's great. Especially when they buffed it so that it wasn't his basics, it was his abilities as well.
Yeah.
Like the basics just didn't work.
I think Sobek's got potential as support, but he's like his support is outshined by his solo, which is why it's never picked, or very rarely picked, and it's only picked by people that are very good at it. It's also like the thing with Sobek is he offers so little, like so much less than other supports, that if you don't win laning phase, you've kind of like lost half of your kit, because half of his kit is like you're like guaranteed to win laning phase, and if you don't win laning phase on him, then you've lost like half of the reason the god was picked. So, I think that's the big problem with Sobek.
Right. I think that's going to do it for us for the God discussion. We're going to move on to upcoming in the community. So you think you can cast a competition that has finally come to an end?
We have 3 salty people in this chat right now about
Yes.
I made it to top 6.
Yeah, you made it through. We didn't.
Yeah.
Like we only cast for EGL.
Okay,
We're only the most popular casters on EGL. What do we care? What do we know? Like
At the very, very beginning, they received over 160 applications, allegedly. Whittled the field down to 12. Of course, Sushi was one of the 12 people that did get through. There was that field from 12 down to 6 for the next round.
So she got through that part, didn't she?
Yeah, Sushi got down to Sushi got to the final 6,
Yes.
and then they had to eliminate 2 more people. Unfortunately, Sushi didn't make it past that part, so they had 4 people. Then those 4 people had to cast in a pair. And of course, the pair with Fats, they won through the community vote. So both of those people, Fats and Gormeister, they got through. And then Husey was the winner from the other team. So unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to Zambash. So we're left with those final 3: Husey, Fats, and Gormeister. And they decided, well, all 3 of them, they're going to have a shot at casting with a Hi-Rez professional caster at a LAN event. Husey casting at the OC Regionals, and Gormeister and Fats casting at the Super Regionals.
Together.
Originally, it was going to be one of them makes it to the Smite World Championship. But then we found out later on, with the announcement that Hugh Z was going to go to the Smite World Championship, that 2 people were going to go, and only one of Fats and Gormize was going to make it.
But the 2 people that went are the ones we called right at the beginning.
Yes.
Like, everyone knew Fats and Husey were going to be the 2 to go.
Yep.
There was no doubt about it. It was always going to be those 2. Husey because he's a great caster, and Fats because he's popular.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I really don't feel like Fats should have been allowed at that competition because it wasn't fair. And when he was doing the duo cast with Gormizer, Slide Foxhound, I don't know if you know him, he's like a really famous YouTuber. He tweeted out saying, "Hey, vote for Fats," and that's not okay.
Like Fats said himself in one of the things, didn't he? He said he's using his popularity to help Gormizer.
Yeah, but it didn't happen like that, sadly.
No.
To be fair, if he's using his popularity to help Gormizer get more casting opportunities after this, then I feel like that's okay. But the fact that his popularity got him to this point and then got him even further over. Like, he's a great caster. I'm not denying that. He's fantastic.
He's a great caster, but I don't think he was as good as some of the other casters that went out. Like
me,
like us, me and AJ as well. But no, like I give him he's a good caster, but I honestly feel that there are other choices to go to Worlds.
Me.
And I think more than anything, the reason I'm bitter about the so you think you can cast results is that those of us who have been actually casting would I think everyone who casts would jump at a chance to do even the super regionals, we would jump at that chance.
Yes.
But like being cheated out of it before you even get in by people who are unknown. No offense to you, Sushi. Like, you were a relative unknown before this thing.
I was.
But those of us who have casted a bit and had a bit of a name, like, not getting into that first 12, it was a bit of a sting. But
it was like, you guys,
like, not a single
NA?
Yeah, not a single
NA
EGL person got through. Not a single tier monster person got through. And, like, WizKid has been doing this for years. And
he's really good.
Him not even being given an option to do this, like, questions were being asked right at the beginning of it.
Yep.
But again, I don't want to take anything away from Husey or Fats because they've done a really good job to get there. But I think
irrelevant of who was picked for the first 12, original 12, Husey and Fats were 90% of the time going to win.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Husey definitely proved that he was the best caster out there, in my opinion. And
I should have been at regional. I really wanted to be there.
Well, considering who was at regionals, it was Gormizer and Fats, as well as DekuScrub. You had the chance to talk to him and meet them and speak to them. How were they?
Who? Gormizer and Fats?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't get to talk to Gormizer, unfortunately. I had a small conversation with Fats in Battle and Brew. And he was just like... I think he, as a person, like he was very like humble about what he knew that he got lucky to get there. Like I think his casting was good, and honestly, he was doing all of his research for the games and stuff. He was trying to figure out like what people were doing. He was talking to the people before he casted them, and he had a good understanding, and he showed a lot of that. So I actually think if out of all the potential who you can cast, I think even if the fan voting kind of sucked and it was always going to be like Fats goes through. He wasn't, like, not putting the time and effort in. He definitely put the time and effort in to improve his cast, and he tried, and I think his casting was very good, to be honest. And he was a very humble person. I sadly didn't get to talk to Gormizer, though, as I was very busy scrimming and getting my eyebrows shaved off.
Which we will not mention that, as discussed before the show.
You say that.
That's fine. That story's fine. Just the rest of the stuff that's not fine. The eyebrows fine.
What is the rest of the stuff?
What other stuff?
Exactly. What other stuff?
What else? Can anyone in chat who knows this tell us? Because I want to know.
Okay, there are some sales going down as well. Today, Black Friday, November 26th to November 28th, 2015. Enjoy 33% off all jetpacks and the Ultimate Gold Pack for PC and Xbox. And then Cyber Monday, November 30th, On Monday, November 30th, 4 Legacy chests are returning for 50% off on both PC and Xbox. This is your chance to pick up some exclusive skins at a discounted price. So the Hunter's chest, the Spring Festival chest, the Pirate's Booty chest, and the Oracle chest are all returning for 50% less. The Hunters and Spring chests for 200 gems, and the Pirate's Booty and Oracle chests for 100 gems. So, if you're looking to spend some money and give all of your hard-earned cash to Hi-Rez, this is a weekend to do it.
Yep.
Yep.
And the 8,000 gem pack that's the highest one you can get, isn't it? That's that's usually $100. It's going down to $67. There you go.
Yes, that is.
Although it's
33%.
$66.99, but yeah.
I mean, that is 33%.
It is. But there you go. There you go. You save a fair amount of money, get it. Boom. Hi-Rez, give us our gems for shilling that, please. Please.
Please.
Hi-Rez, please.
We're doing them a service promo to get to all 8 viewers.
Shut up. But yeah, that's that. And now, what's your announcement, AJ?
You know what it is, don't you?
Oh, I know one of them.
Mm.
Weren't there like 2?
Like, one I already announced on Twitter, and that's me. That's me going to be the coach for Paragon Esports of Australia.
Yay.
Yeah, so yeah.
Good eye, mate.
But a different thing going to be starting in the new year. Well, Paladins was recently released, and, well, I thought it would be good to do a show like this for Paladins. So, introducing the Champions Circle. That's going to be starting up in the new year. You see a logo has been done for it already. This is a rough logo, it's not final. But yeah, it's going to be starting up in the new year just after the Smite World Championships, so be sure to look out for that one. More details will emerge soon.
Apparently, I'm still doing the design stuff for it, though.
You know you're not on it.
I'm going on it.
You're on it as well.
Oh, that looks really good on a black background. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
I'm working on a coloured version now, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
I like that logo.
I like how you guys start a new podcast without me or Todd to try to keep it more professional.
No, we're still discussing things. That's fine.
Yeah, like this is literally. I said I wanted to do this, and I said, Dark, would you like to join me? And that's all we've discussed about this so far.
That's literally
Nice.
it. That is literally all we've done.
We've got some ideas bouncing around for the overlays and stuff to be done, and yeah, it's coming this new year.
There you go. Okay, that's the announcements then, and now
Q&A, boys.
Q&A.
Q&A.
I kind of, my voice kind of broke halfway through that Q&A hype
Nice.
thing.
Well,
But,
so long as you never voice crack.
Okay, so we do have our usual Reddit post we have every week, but first, Sushi, would you like to ask your question?
Always. What is your favorite pizza topping?
Me?
Yeah.
This is your Q&A now.
This is hard. Because there's a lot of value here.
Remember, the wrong answer is pineapple.
Anchovies.
Oh, what?
Anchovies, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you people...
I can
Yeah.
see that. Yep, that's good.
I love anchovies.
Okay. AJ,
Nice.
you just love all pizza, though. You haven't disagreed with a single pizza option so far.
No, I disagreed with sweet corn. I disagreed with pineapple as well.
Okay, sweet corn and pineapple. Can you imagine pineapple and sweet corn pizza? Ugh.
Oh, I believe that was
Fails.
yeah, that was Fails' option.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Fails.
Okay, so anchovies is your preferred pizza topping.
Alright, okay.
All right, we did have a question from chat that came from Angry Day.
Good luck.
What's if any teams from EU will have a roster change, which roster changes do you think will happen?
I mean, I can only speculate, as I've not got anything to confirm. Dig are staying together completely. Disclaimer, nothing's changing in Dig. I think maybe Titan will have some changes. I think the change that I expect from Titan, but I don't know, is I expect Brotus to go mid, Pretty Prime to go ADC, and Nate to go solo. Because it just seems like Brotus isn't working in solo because he's mainly a mid player. I know Nate maybe hinted... I mean, Prime has been playing a lot of ADCs and has hinted that he wanted to play ADC. And Nate has played solo before, as we know. So that's one of them that I speculate. I don't think... none of the teams that get to Worlds, even after Worlds, I don't think there'll be roster changes on them. I think most of them will stick together. So... what other team? LC, I think there'll be big changes in LC. Because I think there's a lot of conflict and interest in LC from what I've heard. I can't confirm anything, but from what I've heard, I think maybe Steefy and Aero might not stay in the team, or Steefy and Cherry. I feel like Steefy's definitely most likely not going to stay in the team. I just get that feeling. But I don't know how they change the roster, or if they just Steefy would leave and they get a new solo. I'm not too sure on how that would go down. But other than that, I don't think there'll be too many roster changes. It's not going to be like NA.
Oh, the NA roster apocalypse.
NA is gonna be... Oh.
Like all those rosters got nuked from orbit.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Barracuda was calling it the roster apocalypse, and it's exactly what's going to be happening.
Exactly.
Like, we can imagine that one show was going to have of roster changes, and for the majority of it, we're going to be talking about NA.
Yep.
Yep.
Alright, next question, boys.
Okay.
Okay, we've got eyebrow. Okay. So there's a load of questions here from Little Sympathy. He's got a fair number.
All right.
But the third one's going to be great. So the first one is thoughts on Odin currently.
He sucks. He's not viable in any role.
He's better than the previous version of him,
No.
who had no passive.
I love Odin.
I love old Odin, like the one where he had 20 million passives. But Odin, after all the passive nerfs, where he had literally no passive.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
He was unplayable. He was bad. Really
he
bad.
was the worst god in the game at that point.
He was really, really, really bad. He was worse than Arachne at that stage.
Yeah, he was.
So, yeah. He's better now.
Yeah,
he is bad.
Actually, did you play the 5 Odin versus 5 Odin arena match?
No.
Oh, God.
Please.
That was so fun.
awful.
No, it was great because our team had 2 Diamond Odins and theirs didn't. So they had 5 people jumping in with their bombs, and then as they landed, we jumped.
Yep.
It's great.
You can have your Raven shout up for eternity.
Yeah, it's because the detonate on it is longer than the cooldown on the ability on 80% of cooldown. It's great.
Fantastic.
Okay. So you don't like Odin in his current form?
He just doesn't make sense. He doesn't fit any role.
Okay.
There's no role he fits because he has no CC.
He's got a slow.
That doesn't count.
He's got a baby cage.
In Smite, every god has 15,000 CCs, and then Odin gets a slow. Even Hebo has CC, and he's supposed to be this. He's supposed to be like the most squishy god in the game. He has CCs. Odin doesn't. Point proven.
I also don't like his passive.
Isn't it if someone dies in the cage, you get physical?
I don't like any passives which are reliant on a skill to get stacks. I don't like it.
Like the fact of the matter is, it's up for 5 seconds, and you have to get a kill in those 5 seconds in that cage. And most of the gods, if you're planning on drafting an Odin, most of the time you're gonna have to pick him last pick and make sure that there's barely any escapes from the cage without combat blink. Well, otherwise, everyone's just gonna jump up before you get the kill on the passive, and the cage is useless.
The annoying thing with his cage as well is the number of times I have realised that someone is about to die and put my cage down just so I could get a stack. It's kind of bad.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not too sure about the passive. It gives him physical power, which means his passive just doesn't synergize with him being in support. It doesn't in jungle. The cage isn't what's killing people. It's just the surprise damage from the jump. And in solo, you don't use the cage. So it's kind of like they've given his passive just has no synergy with the rest of his kit. So it doesn't make much sense to me.
For following on from that, then, was his original back in 2012 a better place? Or do you think...
Why has Simp just asked a bunch of questions about Odin? The famous Odin himself.
Odin main.
He likes Odin.
Oh, Simp, yeah. Simp used to play Odin a lot back in the day. Simp's like one of the oldest Smite players around.
I used to play Odin probably as much as this guy used to. Odin.
What was it? Alright, so... This question's kind of hard.
What
the question?
Skills.
All right, so yeah, his old kit was easier and better to balance. Like his kit now, I'm guessing it's better. It's better to balance him based on his old kit than it is his new kit. His new kit just doesn't have anything. Like his 3, I don't know what they were thinking when they designed his 3. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's just it spins around and slows them for 25%. It's useless. His 2 and his 1 means you have to use 2 abilities to even do anything. So that means you've used 50% of your kit just to do one thing.
And your escape.
And your escape. So old Odin was better, and I think old Odin you can just tone down the numbers. Odin's shout, I think, was a really cool thing, but it was broken, but it was cool. And if they changed it so it was a little less broken than it used to be, I think it'd be fine.
He did have.
It's okay.
He did have a few too many passives.
Yeah, but
I'll
that
give
was
him
just
that.
like, yeah.
Although his coolest passive, like, it wasn't even the health regen or physical protections or whatever that. His coolest one was his increased vision on the minimap. I thought it had quite a good use. Like, that's pretty cool.
That passive was good. It meant that, like, level 1 roaming and stuff, you could see everything.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
It was good.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Where's your eyebrow?
Alright. I'll tell you the story. This is the story. So, it's Friday night, okay? We just beat Titan. Dig camp. Everyone's got high hopes. We drink a lot of this colorless liquid called water. We get, like, I drink a lot of water.
You get rat-assed on water, then.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm out of it on this water. This water's crazy. Like, so then I'd fall asleep, and I remember the last thing I said before sleep was like, oh yeah, Barn, I'll tidy the room tomorrow. I love you, Barn. And then I remember falling asleep. And then I think they decided that it would be funny while I was asleep to shave my right eyebrow off. So, and apparently I was semi-unconscious, and apparently I said, I was like, why is my face burning? And then good night, Barn, or something. While my eyebrow was being
Did they use wax or shave?
Shaver.
Okay.
Shaver.
Okay.
Which belonged to Hi-Rez. And then I woke up in the morning realizing, I was like, oh, my face is really dry. And then I realized that they covered my face in toothpaste as a joke. I was like, I wasn't even that mad. I wasn't even that mad about that. And then I realized there was sellotape in my bed. That didn't bother me. So I got up and I was like, I'm going to go take a shower. And then I got out of the shower and I was like, what's wrong with my face? And then at that point I realized I only have one eyebrow.
That took ages for you to realise you only had one eyebrow.
It took a while. And that's when I tried to kick Shadow's door down.
That's amazing.
So let this be a lesson to all you young kids out there. Don't go out drinking water with your friends.
Don't drink water, drink alcohol instead. It's safer.
Here at the Pantheon Podcast, we advocate drinking in large quantities.
Well, that's probably going to happen this weekend with all the big names in Smite, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Including us. We're big names. I don't care what anyone says.
I'm not there, but like, just keep me updated on stuff that goes on.
Oh, just keep following Twitter. We're gonna have a lot of photos.
Did you have to shave the other eyebrow just to make it symmetrical?
No, I'm just living with one eyebrow.
Were you trying to be one of those fuckboys? Like having one eyebrow, like did you just cut two like slits in the other eyebrow?
The Mandem lines.
Yeah.
I would have.
Oh god.
The Go Faster stripes, I like to call them.
I still don't know who did it, by the way. I know the information I've been given was Frezzy was recording it, and there's a video of it somewhere.
Oh,
I don't know who did it.
I think he just tweeted something about that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
potentially. He said he would tweet out a video if he got 3K followers.
Yeah.
Okay, how many followers has he got at the moment? 2,000. He's got another 1,000 followers, man. That's just unrealistic.
Yeah, that video's never coming out.
That's unrealistic. Although there are pictures from the 19th of someone TPing everything. Toilet paper everywhere.
Oh, the toilet paper one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got in trouble for that.
Understandably.
We also knocked a smoothie on the floor, and I had to clean the smoothie up with fairy liquid while Frosty Shadow beat me to death with pillows, and my eyes started.
Oh my god, that sounds like...
You guys seem to sound like the most professional team ever.
I mean, I think we had a quite professional time.
Sounds about as professional as Cognitive Gaming and their interviews.
Yeah, it does. Oh my god. Okay, and we've got one more question from Little Smithy. And that's, who is the funniest person you've ever had the chance to breathe the same oxygen as? So I'm guessing he means, who have you met that's the funniest person?
I mean, I've met him, and it's definitely not him.
Oh, no.
Who else?
Shots have been fired again. Can we have a show where people don't fire shots? No, we can't, because I'm on the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, who am I going with? I think it'd be either Shadow or Chop Suey. Shadow Nightmare is so funny, and his dance called the washing. You're gonna have to find this dance. He has his own dance, the washing. It's amazing, but it'd probably be Shadow. Shadow was so fucking funny at regionals. It was like every night there was something stupid going on. Oh, yeah. Shadow Nightmare is probably
Shadow?
the funniest.
There you go. Shadow Nightmare, funniest person that
I've shared
Deku
the
has
same
ever
errors.
met. Okay. Pikachu just had a good question. Would you shave your second eyebrow if you would have beaten Trig?
I
I
imagine
would have shaved everything. I would have shaved, and I mean everything, like
Everything. I'd
everything.
rather not find out about some parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep those hidden.
Yeah.
If we were going to Worlds, mate, all gone.
You've been a great swimmer.
I would.
No
Straight light.
resistance. Oh my god.
Oh god.
This took a dark turn.
No, we're exploring the new career path that DekuScrub could potentially have. This is a good thing.
Male model, swimmer, like there's so many things you could go into.
Male model. Oof. I'm a looker. I am like male model. Definitely the career for me.
Well, if you can see his picture, those shades, man, you know.
That was I don't know that picture. I just tried to look like the biggest cunt possible, and it worked. Oh. I love that picture, to be honest.
Well, that's the first time that word's appeared on the show.
Yep.
That word's.
I think I may have to change the adult setting for this week.
Just a little bit, unless you plan
Just
going
a
through the
bit.
entire video and bleeping out all the swear words.
I may put in one bleep at the end to blank that one out. I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry, boys.
It's usually fine. I never expected that one to appear on the show.
Oh god.
Okay. I think on that note, then.
Yeah.
Oh my
You
god.
know what? Let's end it on a high.
Yeah. On that note.
Okay, I'm gonna ask one more question.
Okay.
This is gonna be like the high note of the show. Deku, if you had one tip for any Smite player out there who was new to the game, what tip would you give?
Okay.
I like that question. Although it didn't seem to have an ending to the question.
No, it did.
What would you give?
Would you give?
I'd give the biggest tip I'd ever give is never give up and never trust your teammates. That's the biggest. No, I'm being serious here. Your teammates are just gonna like screw you over and over again, and you're gonna end up getting kicked out about 100 teams before you make it anywhere. So you know, just gotta deal with it. You gotta get kicked out of Six Sigma at least 3 times before you.
There you go. Words of knowledge from the.
Words of- I'm talking from experience.
From the all-knowing Deku. Oh my
Can
god.
we be done? I can't.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to end here.
I think Sushi's broken. Well, Alessandro, she's broken every show so far. Okay, so thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. It's been a great show. It's been a pretty long one actually for us. So
Damn.
big thanks to our guest this week, Dignitas' DekuScrub. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Is there anywhere we can reach you? You know, want to plug yourself at all?
Yep, you can follow me on Twitter at dig_Deku. You can add me on Smite so I can collect Pokemon cards as friend requests. But other than that, yeah, dig. That's it. Do you want me to link my Twitter?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go for it. Yeah.
Twitter.
Oh, it's already. Yeah. You've been allowed, so you're allowed to send the link. If you want.
I'm ready. All right, I've got to like copy paste it, otherwise I'll mess it up. Guarantee it.
It's just dig_Deku.
Thanks for that. I got
go.
permitted and it didn't even work.
No, I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it. It's fine.
It
It's
just
there.
a deleted link.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
well,
me it says it as well.
All right.
Oh
Well-
god, damn it. Welcome
Okay.
to Twitch, everybody.
Yeah, Twitch, man.
Alright,
Moobot.
anyway,
Moobot
that's,
something.
yeah, you can follow me there. Or you can add me on Smite for Pokemon cards.
There you go. And speaking of Pokemon cards, we've also had on this week's show the lovely Sushi. Would you like to plug
Yay.
yourself?
I need to do this. You
Okay.
can follow me over at SushiNur. I will link it in chat.
There you go. Link to chat.
I just play Pokemon. That's it. That's all.
it.
That's
Were you
all.
streaming Pokemon?
I tried, but my emulator fucked up, so I couldn't.
Yeah, I can
Ah.
testify to that.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
kept on liking.
AJ can.
Okay.
Emulator gamers is legal. I do. Dignitas do not promote emulating.
I
Alright,
do.
okay.
We've also had on production this week the wonderful AlphaJackal. Would you like to plug yourself, sir?
Yes, with the double salute. My name is AlphaJackal. You can find me on Twitter at AlphaJackal. You can also find me on Twitch, AJNB1995. If you are listening to the live show, you are here right now, so when you give me a follow, it would really help me out a lot. Thank you very much.
Okay, and I have been Darko3, the host of the Pantheon Podcast. You can find me on Twitch, Darko3, Twitter at Darko3, and YouTube, Darko3 Gaming. That is where the VOD of this is going to be Remember as well, if you want to hear the podcast version of this, you can find us on iTunes. Just give a search for Pantheon Podcast. You'll see our logo in the bottom with like the fifth result. The rest are some Roman podcasts. I don't know. I don't get it. Because the Pantheon is some like show podcast. I don't get it. And we're also available on SoundCloud with Dark Guy 3. I can't change the name, but I've already forked out £75 for the year, so I'm not changing it. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we hope to see you next week on the same time, same place. Good night.